Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. You are highly welcome to this August event. Incidentally taking place in the month of August. We are right here at Cozy Rest Hotel in Gwagwalada, Abuja, Nigerian capital city. The reason why we are here is to interact, because there are two sides of the coin. The supply value chain and the demand value chain. And one cannot operate successfully without the other. So we have here the host disco, because we are within the franchise area of Abuja Electricity Distribution Company. The MD CEO is unavoidably absent, and he has directed that a full complement of his team. I have the General Manager, Communication, in person of Barrister Israel Bodifadi. Can you raise up your hand or stand up for identification? It's the one you have been hearing his voice already. Oyebode Fadi. You are welcome. We equally have in the team the head of MAP, Abiola. Can you stand up for recognition? There's a new program that is being introduced, new scheme that was introduced by NEC, Nigerian Electricity Commission. Under this scheme, consumers and customers. Because consumers are, I understand, they say they are those who consume. Customers, in this school, are those who pay. Can access meter. And with this arrangement, we're expected to pay some token. She'll be telling us the details of what the MAP program is all about. Abiola, you're welcome. We equally have here the convener of this event, in person of Emeka Okubara, is the head of Nestia Power. Can you stand up for recognition, please? We have Prince Oya, AGN Customer Complaint Unit, NEC. AGN Customer Assistant General Manager. So I don't think it's annual general meeting. But that's sorry. I think you are highly welcome. Representing the chairman, CEO of Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission. She has in her team Ishaya Bassett, Assistant Manager, NEC. Thank you. We have here Engineer Usman O. Momo, AGM Technical Services from Nigeria Management Service Agency, NEMSA, headquarters. Engineer Sham Kolo is representing the Director General, Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission. You used to know TPC, they are now Federal Competition and Consumer. The DG is unfortunately absent. And we currently have from CPC, FCCPC, Mr. Ondake Ijabu. You are highly welcome. He's a special assistant to the DG. And last but not the least, we have in our midst a veteran broadcaster and journalist who is equally an interested party in this event, Ohiria Agosore, Executive Director, Program. You are highly welcome. At this juncture, I would like to especially opening prayer. Second stanza. Oh God of creation, direct our noble cause, guide our ground, lead us right, and by you be seated. The agenda is welcome address by head of next year power, Emeka Okupa.
Good morning, guys. So, quick question. Who slept with Nlite yesterday in their house? 2 people, 3 people? And people at AEDC, you're watching, right? Alright, so just, I wanted to just take a few minutes to introduce this program. This is our maybe 8th or 9th program that we've been doing across the country, from Abuja to Enugu to Sokoto to Ibadan as well. We feel that this program is important because customers are the most important part of the value chain. Why? Because they have the money. If customers don't pay, all of this thing we're talking about will cease to exist. So for us, it's important that customers know their rights and also understand their responsibilities to the discos. There's a lot of issues around crazy billing and all these different exercises that you complain about when you first walked in. But there's also a lot of issues around customers bypassing meters, doing very interesting things to get power for free. And that's on the consumer end, not the customer end. So for us, it's important that when we get these sessions to explain what each part is supposed to do. We hope at the end of the program that everyone here understands their responsibilities and also knows their rights to hold the distribution company accountable. Going forward, please ask questions. My colleague Osas is in the back, so find her for any questions or comments you might have. After this program, we'll keep you updated with an email that you'll get every Monday that will give you information on the power sector. With that, I think my time is up. I'm going to call Kunle back up to take us through the rest of the program. Thank you.
It is my honor and privilege to invite the representative of the chairman, CEO of Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission to give us the background of NEC mandate vis-a-vis efficient service delivery, commercial and otherwise in the power sector. Madam, you have the floor. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, distinguished and valued customers of AEDC. As initially introduced, my name is Arituya, and I work with the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission. Please let me once again extend the apologies of the chairman of NEC, Professor James Momo, on his inability to be here. And also let me also reiterate that the customers are very important to the value chain. Just like Mr. Kunle has said, you know, if we don't have customers, then we will not have an electricity, a Nigerian electricity supply industry. So you're very valuable. Permit me to just do some protocols. You know, we are public servants. So I would like to recognize the organizers and the partner of Next Year Power, the CEO and DG of the Federal Competition and Consumer Power Commission, the CEO and Chief Inspector of the Nigerian Electricity Management Services Agency, and also the MD and CEO of AEDC, all ably represented. I've been asked to just run you through the mandate of the Commission. I'm sure we don't want any intellectual presentation here. So just simply put, the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission is the regulator in the power sector. What do I mean? By an act that was established in 2005, the Commission was mandated to carry out what we simply call the economic and technical regulation for the industry. What do? We license operators. What do? We also ensure that appropriate tariffs are set for the industry. What do we also do that is very important? We set standards and regulation to guide the players in the industries to carry out their functions, especially with respect to the distribution company. We set standards, and so every player in the industry, from generation to transmission and also to distribution companies, are guided by the rules that NERC puts out there for them to carry out their different functions. Now, with respect to customer service, because one of the reasons why the sector was privatized was to ensure that there is an improved customer satisfaction in the sector. Because the country, Nigeria as a whole, saw that there was a gap. Customers were not satisfied in the sector, and so NEC came on board. Now, what have we done as a commission with respect to customer satisfaction? What we have done is to create a redress mechanism. What is that redress mechanism? It first starts from customers laying their complaints before their service providers. In this case, it is AEDC, because AEDC is your service provider within this franchise area. So you must first of all lay your complaint before AEDC through the channels of customer complaint units. And your complaint must be in writing. It's very important. It must be in writing. Why in writing? So that in the event that your service providers cannot resolve your complaint satisfactory to you, you can escalate to the next level. What is the next level? The next level is the forum offices. Now, the Commission has ensured that where the service providers, AEDC, in this regard, is unable to redress or resolve your complaint to your satisfaction, and you still feel that they had not done as much as you wanted, you escalate to the next level, which is the forum office. The forum office for Abuja is located in Gwarimpa. And I know that the Commission is thinking about establishing another forum office in Abuja because of the landscape of Abuja, because for somebody in Gwagwalada to go all the way to Gwarimpa to lay a complaint is quite a distance. So we are working on that. At the forum, your complaint will be addressed by 5 independent individuals, because at the forum you have representations from the FCCPC, representation from an NGO, they are there, representation from MAN, representation from NSE, and also from NASIMA. Yes. So all kinds of customers can access the forum to have their complaint resolved. Now, when your complaint is not satisfactorily resolved, then you can now escalate it to the Commission, and the Commission will ensure that that complaint is resolved. Now, why do we have those layers? It's simply because we don't want a situation where you have a complaint of 5,000 naira and then you go and engage a lawyer to begin to resolve your complaint and you go to court. You know, you're spending more money chasing after a small complaint. So that procedure is there so that you can access the whole hub to ensure that your complaint is resolved. Now, the Commission in recent times, having recognized that there is a big gap, metering gap, we have more unmetered customers than metered customers. Now, what did we do? We came out with a product which Mr. Kunle has been emphasizing. That product is the MAP. That's the meter assets provider. What does it do? It is intended to close up the metering gap. It is also intended to eliminate all these crazy bills. I'm sure a lot of you have come here with lots of crazy bills. That is the intended. And critically, it's intended to also bring finance into providing meters. Because the discos right now, as you know, are having challenges trying to meter their customers. And we cannot wait for them in eternity to be able to meter those customers. So that scheme was introduced. That scheme also provides for customers to pay upfront for their meters or go through the financing option. What's the financing option? That is, you can go and tell this school, I want my house to be metered under the scheme, and I cannot pay upfront. But what I'm going to do is, every month I will pay certain amount to begin to liquidate or towards the payment of that meters. So you have those two options. Right now, well, I know these schools are pushing for the upfront payment, and rightfully so. What is the benefit of having the upfront payment? You must be metered 10 days after that payment. That is the benefit of the upfront payment. You are metered 10 days after the payment. And then another issue that has arisen also is, with this metering scheme has come the migration of contested estimated bills into your meter. The commission has also realized that issue, and what have we said to the school? Before you can migrate any contested bills, you must ensure that you have reconciled it with the customer and that the customer has signed off. Very important, has signed off on the sum and has also signed off on the repayment plan. So that sometimes when you go to venue, they can take 50% of your event amount and then over a period of time. But we want to ensure that the customer is aware, because what typically happens is that when a customer is metered, he wants to go and vend, and then he realizes that those debts have been migrated. Am I correct? Okay, fine. So the commission has directed the schools that there must be a sign-off on the reconciled amounts. So that is what that map is intended to do. We want to encourage, please, the valued customers of AEDC, that please, you should try to activate the redress mechanism procedure. It's very important. If you go to the radio and make a complaint, if you go to the television and complain, it's still going to remain a complaint to you anyway. But once you document it and you present it to AEDC, they know that the regulator is watching, and the regulator will ensure that that complaint is resolved. Please permit me to stop here, and I hope that if you have any questions, we'll be able to answer it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Chairman, CEO, NAP, representative. Thank you. I believe you all be given a form, which is the customer survey. Yeah, so you are encouraged to fill the form and return it to the lady in the black collar. The lady will come around and fill the form for you. I would like to humbly invite the representative of the Director General, Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission, Engineer Escolo, the representative of DG FCCPC, Engineer Escolo. PowerPoint presentation of Manda. Which presentation? Okay.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, consumers. I like to proudly call you consumers. Though I had another definition of consumers this morning, and I've heard that several forums where we talk about electricity. And quite frankly, consumers are not just those who consume. Consumers are actually those who either purchase a service or a product, or they use it, and that kind of thing. So I disagree with that definition of the consumer. Okay. I guess all of us here are people who use electricity in one way or the other. Is that not so? We either use it in our homes or we use it in our offices. And they are spoken about my organization. But let me quickly say that we are actually the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission. We used to be CPC, that was Consumer Protection Council. But in February this year, Mr. President actually signed a new law, which is called the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Act. And the act is actually an enabling law today. And that act creates opportunity for a number of things, but I will not go into details. But one of the very important things the act does is the fact that it actually provides for us to seek redress for the consumer. And that is to say, if you have a complaint, the act makes it a responsibility of my commission to provide redress to that your complaint. And how do we do it? In a sector like electricity, we have a service provider, in this case, the AEDC. Then we have a sector regulator, that's the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission, which we fondly call NEC. NEC is actually the sector-specific regulator for electricity. Us, what we do as a commission is just to oversight whatever happens in that sector. NEC is the one, just like a madam said a little while ago, that will actually prescribe a lot of things that would guide the behavior of AEDC or any other electricity company. So they actually control the behavior of those firms. And like if there is a service failure, we also wait on NEC to do the needful. In public service, when we say you do the needful, it entails a lot of things. It could be to sanction, it could be to call the attention of whoever is doing something that is wrong, and a number of things. But like I say, when all of those fail, you can resort to us. But most importantly, we were called today to come and talk to you about your rights and responsibilities as an electricity consumer. And that's just what I'll be doing. That is also one of our roles. We educate, the law permits that we educate consumers. In terms of the right, I think the first right we'll be talking about is right to connection, electricity connection. Let me say that when we talk about rights in this sector, so that I don't forget, we'll be talking about rights that have been provided by either regulations, standards, codes, or orders issued by NEC. We don't reinvent the wheel. When we come into the sector, we work with the sector regulator, and like I said in this case, the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission. We will not come and say, let us come up with a new regulation in the sector. We will not come up and say, let us develop a standard in the sector, or come up with a code. We work with those ones that are made available to the Nigerian people by NEC. In a situation where those regulations are not adequate, we can actually approach NEC to either amend or to introduce new regulations as may make regulatory matters to be adequate. And when we're talking about right to connection, electricity connection, that is a right that every consumer has. NEC has a regulation that says if you want a new connection and you pay money, you pay for the connection, you are supposed to be connected within 10 days. That is to say, one, your installations too, because when we're talking about installations, the things you have in your house, like your wiring and all of that, would have been ascertained to be okay. So when it is ascertained to be okay, NEC has provided that within 10 days of your paying for that, you need to be connected. Since I'm talking about connection, permit me to quickly talk about disconnection. NEC also has the same regulation that I'm talking about, also has a provision on disconnection. It states in clear terms why a consumer or a customer, as maybe Yes, agreed here, could be disconnected. Some of the reasons, they vary actually, but one of the, I think the major reasons why it could be disconnected most of the time is when, for instance, you are indebted to your disco. Your disco would come disconnect you. Or maybe when the installation in your house pose some security or safety issues, the disco would come in the interest of safety and to disconnect you. But one of the very important things we are happy about there is that the same regulation also says that if you don't meet, for instance, you are indebted to your disco, you have 10 days. That is, sorry, if your disco gives you a bill today, that you have 10 days allowance within which to pay that bill before you could be disconnected. It's actually something that is contained in that regulation. What that means is that you are entitled to 10 days notice before disconnection. Though what we have seen across the country, sorry sir, okay. When I talk, let me also say this, when I talk, quite frankly, kindly bear with me, I will not be talking just in terms of AEDC, because our experience goes across Nigeria. We receive complaints from all over the country. So when, for instance, talking about the disconnection notice, we get a lot of complaints that maybe I got my bill today, the following day, I left for office and I was disconnected. Someone is saying the same day. For us, that is not good enough. You know why it is not good enough? Do you know why there is a regulation? There is usually a regulation so that people don't begin to use their discretion. People don't sit in their offices and say, okay, I consider this to be like this, I consider this to be like that, and so I will do this. Regulation makes it mandatory to say, this is how you will do this thing. So that you don't begin to impute your own ideas, your own reasoning, and your own suggestions as to why you must do something. So, and when we talk at forum like this, at a forum like this, we actually crave the indulgence of everybody to come to an understanding. You know why? If we don't obey regulations in one way or the other, then we are bringing anarchy. Is that also? We are saying that if a disco, for instance, violates regulations, it means the consumer can also begin to also attempt to violate regulation. Is that also? And when we have that kind of violation, we will be causing nothing but anarchy. Is that also? The other thing is rights to information. We have also, the net provides that if there is going to be a planned disruption, for instance, in electricity, that a disco should notify you 3 days before that interruption. But honestly, I can't remember the last time I heard anybody announce anything, either on radio or published anywhere, to say in 3 days' time, we are going to disrupt or maybe interrupt supply from ABC. And these are as simple as ABC. If the regulation says do this, I think it is important that you do that. Yes, there are situations where these things may just be abrupt. For instance, rainfalls, you don't consider that one to be a planned disruption. Is that also? That one is by the act of God. Rain falls, wind blows, and then a cable drops. The disco cannot control that one. But a situation where a disco knows that in 3 days' time, it will be yanking you off so as to be able to carry out maybe a repair, a maintenance, or something. And now NEC has thought it wise to provide for that. I think it's also important that we obey that, so that there will be sanity in the system. What it does to us, it makes for planlessness. You are not able to plan. My wife tells me she can't buy some things in bulk because she cannot predict the situation. Certain things can happen. And then people will continue to lose money, lose whatever they would have bought with hard-earned money. Then another right that NEC actually provides for is that right to redress. That right to redress is the fact that you have the right to make a complaint. And just like Madam said, complaints should be in writing. At the FCCPC, there's something we try to differentiate between complaint and grumbling. Grumbling is when you sit in your house or you are amidst friends, something happens, you say, oh, this NEPA, God punish them. This and that, this airline, this wahala, Nigeria is just terrible, this and that. But you know where we have issues. A lot of times, even friends have called us to say, see, I'm right now at the airport. This airline has delayed for 8 hours. They have not told us any reason. They haven't, and then they are really, really angry. And you say, you know what, sir? Just kindly do a one line telling us that this is the situation. And that will be the end of the story with that guy. He will not revert to you because he doesn't want to commit himself. And it is, I don't know why we do that, but I think somehow we have this entitlement mentality to say we must sit in our house, we mustn't initiate anything, and certain things must happen good to us. I think that is one of the reasons I can begin to think about for that kind of behavior. And another thing too is the fact that possibly, maybe we have not been quite happy with the complaint redress mechanism that most of our organizations have. I also work in an organization that receives complaints. NERC actually also receives complaints. AEDC receives complaints. Possibly, you may not be encouraged by the way we go about what we do. Is that also? But that should not discourage you. You know why? Because we all have supervisors. And you can always raise your matter. And when you raise them in writing particularly, I don't think there's anybody in public service that will not want to attend to that kind of thing. And then if we don't start from somewhere, we also not develop the culture to complain. So please, anytime you have a complaint, endeavor to make it in writing. Our own law even states emphatically that complaint must be in writing. It goes further to say that if a person does not know how to read or write, that the person can come into our office or maybe call anybody, and the person would actually complain to the person in his language, and then they will transcribe and translate into English, put it down in writing. It is acceptable. So please, let us be encouraged to complain. Then, right to contest a bill. This one is a very big issue for us. NEC, thankfully they are in the room. They tell us that if you have a bill that you think does not reflect your consumption, you could complain to your service provider. And they also tell us that if you complain to your service provider, that you have a right to go back to pay your last agreed bill, the undisputed one, pending when your matter is investigated and then resolved. But do you know the experience we have? A number of times we have a situation where a consumer comes, we quote all the regulations, all the laws and everything, and say, look, go and do exactly this. And then the guy calls us back to say, I have an acknowledgement, a letter that I submitted to my electricity distribution company. Like I said, it was not necessarily the AEDC. I have that in my hand, and I have complained, and I have paid the last undisputed bill, and the company has still gone ahead to disconnect me. We have hundreds of such complaints in our office. I think we have, for instance, fortunately, we have just one of the numerous discos in the room here with us, and then we have NEC. We should begin to obey this kind of, what do I call it now? Social order. Maybe, yes, rule for there to be order. You know, because if we don't, like I say, it will become a very chaotic situation. But let me also tell you some of the things we hold back too. One of the things we hold back is this. A lot of times, our law, even when it was CPC, and now FCCPC, we have more powers. Our law mandates that we can issue an order to anybody who provides service, or the only place you can question that order is the court. But we restrain ourselves a lot of times because sometimes we try not to be adversarial. We try as much as possible to say, okay, look, let us do things that will create for harmony, for peace, for years, and all of that. So let us please try to maintain decorum. Another right that we have is right to payment arrangement. That is to say, you have a right to agree with your disco. It's not you coming on your own to say this is what I can pay, but at least meet your disco. I agree with your disco and say, look, this is how much, look at my situation. And then when you have agreed, please faithfully pay whatever you have agreed upon. You understand? Though there are also situations we have where somebody faithfully abides by that agreement, and then a marketer goes to a zone one day and say, if whatever you like do, you must pay maybe 20,000, and maybe the person has agreed with his disco to be paid 10,000, and the person says, today you must pay 20,000. If you do not pay, we'll disconnect you, and then they climb the pole, and then they disconnect. For us, it's also a problem that we are having. Another right, quickly, is the right to be treated fairly. Under this, one of the things we have captured is the fact that NEC also says there should be no mass disconnection. Don't go to Zone A, Gwagwalada, and then somebody tries to fight with you, and you get very angry, and then you come and disconnect everybody that is in that area. What it does is this: it discourages people who are law-abiding. Because if I have paid my bill for maybe July, and then you came down to collect your money, and then somebody, or maybe you came to give or distribute bills, and somebody made you angry, and then you, rather than face that person, you now went and you took I would say taking the laws into your hands to say, okay, look, we will disconnect them, because you see what happens is that most of the time that these things happen, the people in the field take these decisions without necessarily even consulting with people in the offices. But the flip side of this, let me say quickly, is the fact that also some of us do not behave well as consumers. Do you understand? A disco sends its officials to your residence. You lock up, you put a big dog in the compound. They are supposed to come and read your meter. They can't come. They cannot enter. Or you gather your friends because you have a number of friends with muzzles. You say, we will rough handle these guys today. After all, they don't give us light. And so when they come, you rough handle them. Whether we like it or not. Those guys who work in the discos, it is not light that flows in their vein. It is blood like you and I. So sometimes you see them, they act like human beings. So they get angry and they do the things they do. So please let us not be local champions. Let us not be people who, when discos come to our area to do something, we begin to mobilize people to fight them. Please, if you have a complaint, you have almost how many agencies to complain to. You have even one, first of all, the disco to complain to. You have 2, the foreign office to complain to. You have 3, even NERC to escalate your complaint. 4, you have even the FCCPC to complain to. So let us not take laws into our hands. Let us not beat up fiscal officials. The other one is consumer responsibilities. And under this, we'll be talking about 3 quick things. 1, you have a responsibility to pay your bills promptly. Do you know what happens? Our experience shows that there is this question of NEPA 2, NEPA 1, NEPA 2. NEPA 1 is the official disco, is that not so? They come in the day, they disconnect you. As soon as they leave, you call your NEPA 2 friend. They will come and reconnect you. And while that is happening, even some of us will be cheerleaders. We'll be saying, see these people. They think say they sabi something. We don't deal with them. And those kind of things. But do you know the problem? Let me tell you the implications of what we do. Quite frankly, it's just like you have, maybe you fly, and then you think you can cheat the airline. You know the implication. The airline will not have money to maintain its fleet. And the danger in that is that they will begin to cut corners. You understand? The airline will begin to cut corners. And if the airline does not have money enough to maintain its fleet, you know what it will do? It will go under. Is it that? Maybe, or rather, first of all, maybe it's supposed to fix one boat. It doesn't have the money to fix it. So they will use maybe a wire to tie it. And the thing goes up, it comes down. We say, God, the devil has done his work. If tomorrow, this discourse can't function, whether you like it or not, there is no solution. So we must even do things to discourage our friends and family members from cheating. So when it comes to that, we must always say, look, at least these people are putting money, they are buying power, they are doing what, they have installations here and there, and all of that, and then they do. Then another duty is to protect meters and other installations. Some of us will actually bypass. Is that not so? You have 2, 3 ACs, you connect one, and then the remaining you bypass. You tamper with all of these facilities. I think let us begin to do the right things. Like I said, the discourse must be afloat. They must be there. They must actually be there to serve us. So let us not do those kind of things. Another thing is, yes, that amounts to energy theft. So we mustn't engage in those kind of things. And we must always report those that engage in them. Because the thing is that you might think it is not you, and you might think the discourse will even need to punish them. The implication is that when the discourse are not doing well, it also affects you, it affects me. So at the end of the day, all of us will suffer. Is that not so? So, and then even things like cables, our transformers, and all of that, let us try as much as possible to at least protect them. But one thing that I must say before I sit down, that is also contained in our presentation, is this idea of who provides what. Is it the discourse responsibility or the consumer's responsibility to provide meter, to provide transformer, to provide pole, to provide cable? From what we understand, it is the discourse responsibility. It is not the individual's responsibility to provide those things. The reason is that all of these things, even if you provide them, they belong to the disco. But yes, it doesn't also mean that good-spirited citizens cannot come and say, we want to donate this, maybe to assist even our disco. And from our interaction with the discos, they tell us that, look, most of the time, when people do these self-help things, that they don't even contact them. They just go ahead. Maybe one day they hear they have purchased a transformer. They didn't even contact the disco to say, okay, look, we intend to maybe assist you to do this. And the number of times too, you go through very dubious people. Some persons might even be your community leaders. They are telling you that, okay, they are collecting money to give to the disco. They collect money, it goes, and they tell you they have gone to see those guys at the disco and they have given the money. So let us make everything formal. If you're going to do that kind of thing, write to the disco. Don't send people. Do a letter and say, the managing director, we are of this community. We want to assist to this extent. Guide us. What do we do? So that the managing director will direct his colleagues in the office to guide you as to how to go about it. You understand? Because we also have issues where people come to us and say, this school has refused to energize our transformer and those kind of things and all of that. And then we'll go to the disco gives its own size. Finally, I must say this. One of the things, because if we name and shame, we should also appreciate when certain things happen. You know, from our campaign in the country, we try to tell these schools where we feel they are not doing well. And one of the things we told them over the years is, give a common response to a letter. For instance, Nlite provides that if you make a complaint to a disco and they cannot do whatever they are supposed to do within the given time, they are supposed to notify you in writing after 15 days. Every 15 working days, they are supposed to tell you the reasons why certain things cannot be done. We don't see that happen. But let me tell you one area we are pleased with. Maybe in the last couple of months. We had also told, we have mentioned it even to Abuja Disco before, and we have mentioned it to other discos around the country to say, see, yes, there won't be light. We say, okay, maybe the water level has gone down. Gas is not being supplied. Problem between us and either TCS or any of these other agencies, and all of that. We'll say, okay, that one is okay. But this idea that a consumer sends you even a tweet to say, disco, in my area, there's this kind of thing going on. How come you don't also respond to that? Do we need water level to go up to before you respond to tweet and all of those? By this, I would also say that all avenues for correspondence with our discos needs to be improved, with consumers need to be improved upon. But one area Abuja Electricity Distribution Company has done well that we will come here and appreciate is in the management of their Twitter handle. We can attest to the, let's clap for them. We are so angry with them with all the quite frankly, let me tell you, we monitor this thing 247. That is from my organization. If you like, go to their Twitter handle now. If you see anything pending for 1 hour without response, call me a liar. 30 minutes, 45 minutes, we will see response. And we are encouraged, we are happy about it. Please, let's give them a round of applause. Let's encourage them. So they will do more. You understand? So finally now, please always make your complaints when you have any. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Director General, Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission. This presentation was made by the Special Assistant in the Office of the DG, Mr. Ondaji Ijaru. Next on the line, we have a presentation from NEMSA. NEMSA is the agency of government that ensures that before meters that we are using, in different districts, before they are put to the network, they have what they call the meter test station. Because as consumers, the issue of integrity of meter is of great concern to us. Because if you have a meter that's supposed to take care of energy accountability, like you have in some of these filling stations, there could be adjustment. And if there's adjustment, the pump could be dispensing fuel of 100 naira, for example, for 500 naira. So that what the role of NEMSA meter test station is that before any meter service provider is allowed to deploy meter in the Nigerian electricity supply industry, the meter will have to be taken to NEMSA office in various parts of the country. The meters will be tested, and even after 5 years or thereabout of usage of the meter, just like any electronic devices, there will be challenges, and they could take it back for recalibration. So, on this note, I would like to invite the head of NEMSA meter unit at the headquarters, meter test unit at the headquarters, Engineer Gideon, to make a presentation on the role of NEMSA as per the integrity of meter network in 10 minutes. Then Engineer Momo will now make a presentation on the general values of safety. Engineer Gideon, please have it for 10 minutes. Your role as the testing of meter. Very important for us as customers.
Good morning. Standing on an existing protocol, I'm Engineer Gideon from NEMSA. Basically, what we have been talking about today is regarding and at our own end, because we anticipate there's going to be surge, so we've prepared and we've communicated with all the discourse regarding things they need to provide for us so that we will have smooth implementation. We're sending some guidelines to them. There are a lot of process to go through when you want to deliver meters into the nation. First, I'll just go through the stages. We have what we call type test. Before you venture into it, you need to write an application to NEMSA informing us about it. Then you get an approval, you do a type test. After the type test, because what I mean by type test is that the meter needs to pass through some standard and regulations. Because throughout the world, we have different climatic environment, and we need to domicile our own kind of meter in such a way that it will be able to work well. The test I'm talking about is it will pass through a different test, confirming that it's in line with the regulation, because we have what we call Nigerian metering code. So that's why we have the specifications and parameters that we need to test in line with the regulation. So after that, we gave the suppliers or the map providers the certificate to go ahead. Then the next phase is when they bring in the meters, before they start deploying it into the consumer, for consumer to start using it, we also need to do what we call routine. We need to confirm if what was done on the type test is the same, is coming in with the same parameter. And when we do that, we have some things we need to put to confirm that, oh, this meter has actually passed through NEMSA. So we have what we call seal. So I just want to inform the customer that if you have a meter in your house and there is no NEMSA seal attached to it, that means the meter has not passed through NEMSA. We call it meter verification online, in such a way that at your corner of the room, you can easily confirm, oh, did this meter pass through NEMSA? If yes, because we are trying to match, we'll match the meter serial number and the seal number. So it's either you use the USS code or short code to confirm. So basically, why we are doing this is we want equal opportunity. The discourse that we don't want them to lose, well, the customer as well, we don't want them to lose. In such a way that the current being dispensed out is accurately captured. That's the main intention of why we are doing all the process, so that there will be win-win situation and the investors will be happy, well, the customers will also be happy. So that's the process we put in place, and by the grace of God, we continue to see how we can be able to improve on all the facility on ground, so that we can be able to satisfy the customers. Thank you.
Thank you, Engineer Gizo, for that beautiful presentation. In nursing, you know, government have an agency known as NEMSA, and the beauty of this agency is that to ensure that this electricity we use does not become an hazard to us, because the beauty of it is that we all like electricity. It gives us comfort. But if it's badly managed, it can lead to destruction of household equipment. It can lead to loss of life. There are a lot that got to do with safe delivery of electricity for issues of health, safety, and environment. On this note, I would like to invite Engineer Usman Momo, Assistant General Manager, Technical Services at the NEMSA headquarters, to give us a lowdown on the mandate of NEMSA in nursing vis-a-vis health, safety, and environment, and safe delivery of power. Engineer Momo, thank you.
Okay, good afternoon everybody. There's been a lot of talk, meter, consumption, everybody's more concerned about what is paid. But we seem to forget that before you get to the point where you consume electricity, there must be first delivery of electricity to that your meter point for you to have electricity to complain whether you are enjoying supply or not. And that process of electricity getting to you is very important. We started with the question the organizer asked, how many people slept with light last night? And some raised their hands, some did not raise up their hands. Now it's not your meter that made not to sleep with power supply. It is the supply from the source to your house. There was no supply. That's why you didn't have power supply. That's why you didn't sleep with light. It's not the meter. So I think we need to look at it from two perspectives. There is the issue of the meter, which I know is dear to everybody's heart, or your consumption. But also important is if there is no delivery of the power from the source to where your meter, where it will be to be metered, then you'll be talking about revenue, how much you have spent. So it is very key, and that is where NEMSA comes in. Now, our role in the industry is about security, your safety, one, and also ensuring that the power, the safe delivery of power for you to use, safe, reliable, and continuous delivery of supply of power to you to use. Before we talk about the major point. Now, how do we ensure this? That is a basic challenge that we have in the industry today. It's been recurring, and that's why NEMSA was established to step in and see how this can be resolved. First of all, one of our key mandates is to ensure that all the materials that have been used to bring that power supply, to deliver it to your doorstep, you have the right standard, the right specification. It is very key. If we go out, or while we're coming here, we see power lines, we see poles, we see conductors traveling up to our areas, and if we go to our houses, we see that those poles bring conductors up to the point to our doorsteps, and there are some wires that take it into our houses where it gets to our meter point. Now it's very important that one, the poles that are bringing the supply that you see in your houses, part of what we do is to ensure that those poles, they meet specification, require specification, they are designed to standard. The quality of the pole must be such that the pole can remain standing for years. without anything happening to it, except accidents or somebody runs into it. That standard of that pole, we inspect, we monitor and ensure the quality that that pole, before it is deployed to you for use, it has been certified by NEMSA. And part of what we do, part of the criteria of giving the people who manufacture those poles, is that their name must be engraved on the pole. The name of the company, a phone number must be there, and a batch number must be there on that pole. So that it is easy, if there's any problem on that pole, it collapses on its own or anything, we can trace who the person is, and the person can be brought to book. And that is one for the pole. Also, the conductors, the wires that we see on top of the poles that come to your area. Now, these conductors you see, they have different sizes. The important thing about these different sizes of these conductors is that they have different currents that they carry to deliver to your house. Now, if you use a conductor that is undersized, it means that if you require the amount of power you require, if that conductor does not bring that amount of power to your house, you have where you'll be experiencing low voltage. So such situations will be blaming the disco that is from their own case, not knowing that that conductor is part of the problem that you're having. So we also ensure that the conductor they're going to use must be of the right size, also of the right quality, because you have when if they use a substandard conductor, it can snap and break just on its own. To just snap, before you know that it will drop. Poor quality. Now we also ensure that that conductor is of the right quality. To ensure two things: it must be of the right quality and it must be of the right size, so that the amount of power that is meant to deliver to your doorstep, it delivers the amount of power. Also, you have what we call the cross arms. You see, it's standing just across the pole, carrying three things that hold the conductors. Now, for the cross arms, initially wood was being used, but today we have a challenge. We do not have standard wooden cross arms anymore, because it's not being manufactured anymore. What you see, people just go into the bush, they cut this wood, and then they use engine oil, paint it with engine oil, and put it up there. After 3 or 4 rain seasons, it is wood, water, rain, effect of it begins to cake, it breaks, conductor snaps, major problem. So we ensure that the quality, what we have asked them to use now, either they are using China iron or they are using fiber cross arm. We ensure that the quality is there. Thirdly, the insulators that are being used. You have insulators of different voltages. There are those for 33 and there are those for 11. Now there are two different, 33 and 11 are different voltages. Now if you use 11 for 33, it means you're going to have a lot of problems. Because it is lower than 33, you cannot take that 33. And this can result in disastrous consequences. So we also ensure that these materials that are used there are very, very okay. Now, so from the supply point that is coming to where you have your transformer that is visiting to your house, now we carry out inspection. That's one of our basic functions. We do inspection, we test, and then we issue a certificate to say this installation you have used. One, the materials you have used altogether that I explained, your conductor, your insulator, the cross arm, your pole, the materials that you have used are standard and they meet the required specification. We say they are okay. That's for the materials. Secondly, we also ensure that even that construction work that you are going to do, before you do the construction work, it is supposed to be planned. You do a survey, you do a design. There's a regulation set by the regulator, NEC. It must follow that regulation in planning, in designing. So that by the end of, by the time he has finished all this process, he decides to construct this installation, it must be in line to ensure this has been done. Now, part of the design requirement, there's what we call right of way. Right of way is very, very important. Right of way simply means that that's your conductor, those lines, those power installation that's going to take supply to you. There must be a minimum clearance from the installation to any structure to your left and to your right. Now the essence of this, like I said, when I said safety, technical safety is what we're all about. Safety of lives. The essence, the disco are giving you power supply is for you to enhance your living and not to kill anybody. So we must also ensure that that safety is key. And part of it is that right of way, the regulation must be observed. We've had situations where we've had complaints from consumers who have come to say they finished our installation, but they told us that one NEMSA said they cannot power the installation. Why? Everything is in line, is it okay? I would say yes, it's okay, but there's no right of way. Right of way now means that if it's from 11 or 33 kV line, from the center, because we see we have three different conductors. From the center one to any structure to your left is 5.5 meters. To the right is 5.5 meters. The essence is simple. If the conductor snaps and drops, there is no way to come in contact with anybody. So you are sure that even if we don't pray for it to happen, sometimes it happens, and if the protection system, the discos are put in place, it might fail. Because it is man-made, it might fail. If it fails, we are sure that if the conductor drops, nobody comes to handle it. So we say no, you must follow that order before we allow it to deliver power supply to you. That right of way must be met. Now for this, we'll now say yes, the installation that has been done, but we'll do our inspection, we do due diligence, we issue a certificate and say yes, it can be powered. That is for the line, from your source to where it is coming to. Also, those three lines you see coming, it enters where? A transformer. Transformer is also very key. We have transformers, we don't make transformers in the country, we import. Now we have unscrupulous elements who go outside the country. They get a transformer. The transformer might be a 200 kVA transformer. That's the rate of the transformer. They buy the transformer, they remove that plate on it that says 200 kVA, and they put another one and says it is 500 kVA. Now they install it for you. Now when it is installed, the disco believes that it's a 500 kVA transformer. So they begin to add load. You want supply, they add you. You want supply, they add you. Believing it's 500 kVA. Now they add, when they add, they check the load and say we are 200 kVA. It's 500 now, keep adding, there's no problem. It's 300 kVA, keep adding, there's no problem. And then transformer packs up. And then the community shouts and says, Disco have destroyed our transformer. Then there's a lot of problem. They go to Disco's office, they attack the Disco staff. It's a problem. Now part of what we do in our inspection and test exercise, we test this transformer and we confirm to say the capacity of this transformer is actually what is written on it, or it is not what is written on it. If it is not, then we tell whoever supplied it to say this transformer is not, and then we write the Disco or tell the Disco that this transformer cannot be powered because what the nameplate is saying is fake, and it must be replaced with a standard transformer of the required capacity. Then the Disco itself, because of what I said, refused to energize the transformer. Now it's good we understand these things because as consumers, so we don't see the Discos play a role. We work in partnership. So sometimes when these things happen, we try to appreciate some things the Discos they do. I'm not making brief for them, but sometimes they do this for the benefit of you, the consumer. Because it's not good, you finish an installation, 3 months down the line, transformer packs up. And then you come back and confirm that it was not a 500 kV transformer, a 200 kV transformer. We're asking what happened in the first place. So in this value chain, we carry out all these tests of all these equipments, and then at the end of the day, we issue a certificate. Now we tell the Disco you can go ahead and energize this installation, which is done, and then we monitor the installation. We monitor the installation from time to time to ensure that the safety issues that were put in place during the planning, design and construction is maintained in the life of that installation. Another key thing that we also do is investigation of electric accidents. We don't pray for accidents, but unfortunately these accidents, they keep occurring. And sometimes when these accidents occur, you find that they are preventable accidents. They are preventable accidents. We were talking about, when we talk about number 2, we all laugh, but the action of number 2 really is becoming a serious menace it is becoming a serious menace. Because we have had issues where some about 2 staffs have died while trying to do illegal connection. We have had issues where the illegal connection have led to houses getting bombed. Yes, houses have gotten bombed. We have seen where people die in their houses from this electrical fire that arises from all these poor connections. Also key that we also do to prevent accidents. You see, when we talk about the right size and quality, building, because we found out, and it's very key, something we're trying to address now, but even from a bigger perspective. We found out that most buildings, and I'm saying it's from extent of carried out in Abuja, more than 50% of houses in the buildings don't have protection system. From the basic earthing system, most houses don't have. You see a beautiful big mansion, beautiful house. There's no protection in that house. But we fail to forget that you can spend billions to build a house. One spark, electrical fire, will bring everything down. And then you ask yourself, what's the cost of this earth conductor that you need to build this house? What's the cost of the ELCB that you need to protect the building compared to the cost of the building? It's you can't value it. So we have a lot of issues where you have a house, even like my colleague was talking about the meter issues. It's what we also observe when people come to complain about their meters, that the meter is reading fast. The discos are overbilling us, continuously complaining. And we have had thoughts like my colleague who's in charge to go investigate. And during the investigation, they found out that the discos are not overbilling the customer. It's simple. There is no earthing in the house. And once you don't have any earthing in your house, if there is a fault current in your house, the fault current doesn't have anywhere to flow to. So it creates virtual load. So your meter sees it as load and reads that fault current as load. So in addition to what you are consuming, and then we end up blaming the disco that they are overbilling us. So it's a key issue now that we are going around now, we are checking houses, and we have said, part of what we have told the disco, before you meter any house, I know there's a rush, everybody wants meter now, but we have to understand safety. Before any house is metered, please, the disco, they have to access the building. Or they call our office, we have offices, call our office, carry out a check. If you don't have earthing system, then be sure that you're going to have problem when your house is metered. So while we are rushing for meters, as we are rushing, we are eager to get meters, we should make sure we do the needful. And one of the needful, not like the one my brother described, this is the real needful now, not the one talking about. You must make sure your house has a good earthing system. Now when I mean good earthing, not just earthing system, because we've seen houses where they will show us earth conductor as it enters the ground. But when you carry out the test, they are getting over 1,000 homes. What the regulation says is that your earthing system must be less than 2 ohms for it to work. It must be less than, yes, for it to work, but less than 2 ohms. So it means that even after the earthing is done, it must be tested. Okay, before you are giving the right to pass. And we've told the disco, if these things are not done, and then the house is metered, earthing, what do we mean by earthing? It's connection. We get a copper conductor. A copper conductor. Now the minimum size copper conductor should be 70 mm. Minimum size is 70 mm. Minimum 70. Yes, 70 mm. Pure copper. Please. You see, there's a challenge we have, and I'll get to that point. Challenge we have, the minimum size should be pure copper, 70 mm. Now the essence, because we need to understand the essence of what we're talking about using the size of copper. You have an issue where it's just like the function of, okay, let me digress into the two. The function of this earth conductor is like you are filling a bowl, you want to use a pipe to fill a bowl. If you use a 4 mm pipe and you use a 10 mm pipe, you should expect that the 10 mm pipe will fill faster than the 4 mm pipe. So that's the principle behind earthing. When you use a minimum, we say minimum, but not say a minimum, can be 95, can be 120. It means that your fourth current, the rate of discharge, that fourth current that is flowing around, when you use minimum of 70 mm, the limit time which it flows down to the earth will be faster than when you use the minimum of 70. That's why it is minimum of 70 mm. Now it is connected to your point, your supply point in your house. Now this earthing system, what we've seen some people do, they just get one, and also you need a copper electrode. Some people will just get a copper electrode, one copper electrode, bury it in the ground, connect your conductor to it, and tell you they've done earthing for you, and then they go. By the time we come to inspect your building, by the time we test the value of the earthing, we're getting like 1,000 homes. And I said the acceptable value is less than 2 homes. Then I get 1,000 homes, and the man said he has done earthing for you, and he has evidence to show that you see the copper wire for the earthing. So it must be tested. Normally what they do for this earthing, they dig an earth pit. You have an earth mat, you bury your earth mat, you get your earth rods, copper earth rods or galvanized, pure galvanized. Challenge, we also have a lot of fake materials in the market, so we need to be careful. Now this will also link to the next one I'm talking about. I'll be talking about substandard materials in the market, which is a challenge. From your transformer to your poles to your conductors, namely you have substandard materials in the market. And that's why we have said that for anybody you are going to, anybody you employ to work for you must be a NEMSA certified contractor. Because what we also do, by virtue of our act, we are allowed to certify contractors who carry out electrical installations in the country. Now the essence of this certification is we have a database of all electrical installers in the country. So if anybody is coming to work for you and you know his name, for example, I'm Engineer Momo Engineering Company, I have a company. If I do a job for you and there's cost for that, for a problem in that job, if you give the name to NEMSA, we just go into a database, we trace the person and we revoke his license. And we stop him from practicing for this substandard job. So that for every solution that is done, there is a check that we have put in place. And the check for these solutions that we're talking about now is the electrical contractor. Now for anybody who wants to do electrical solutions in the country, you must be certified by NEMSA. You must, it's compulsory. If you're not certified by NEMSA, you cannot work. And we have equally written to the discos, in this case, Abuja disco for example, that before you give out any permission to construct to any contractor, you must attach NEMSA certificate, verification that is from NEMSA. Otherwise, if you do, the disco will be sanctioned. It's very, very important. Because we have had issues over the years where we have had disasters, buildings getting burned, overhead construction lines collapsing, causing serious harm to people, and then when you ask, you cannot trace who did the job. Who bears the brunt? The disco bears the brunt, because everybody goes back to the disco. Because once the solution is energized, it becomes property of the disco. So we're not saying no, let's put check and balances in place. We have the database of who did that job. The disco has the database of the contractor. We also have the database of the contractor. So when anything arises, we just call for social solution who did it. We go to the disco. And they go through their records and say this solution was done by the Momo company. And once they give us this database, it's easy to trace it. If it's a crime that needs to be involved by the police, we invite police to pick him up. Monitor the whole power industry alone. We cannot. So there must be a partnership between us at this end. We all are consumers. Even us at this end, we are all consumers because we use the same supply. But we need partnership down to the last person. Down to the last person. And we are saying for any installation that you see that is not conforming to standards, you alert the disco and you alert themselves. So that if you alert the disco, because we've had complaints where people say we've called the distribution company and nothing has been done. And we said how long? We said we called them 1 week ago. It means it has passed our own response time for 48 hours. If nothing is done, then we go to the disco and ask them, someone made a complaint, what is happening to the complaint? Now we'll be on their head to make sure that they correct that before any disaster happens. Because you see, like they say, electricity, my boss will always say, is a good servant, but a very bad master. Yes, if the day disaster happens, none of us can be able to handle it. So we're saying that there has to be a partnership between the consumers, us in the electricity, and we on this end. And part of what we are trying to do, like my colleague has said, we're trying to see how we can make information and dissemination free-flowing. We've designed the USSD we're talking about, the USSD. We're working on an application where you can just, an app, you can snap anything you see that is not correct, and then you just snap and send. We'll get it at our own end, and then we'll call the disco. Also report to the disco also. So we're trying to see how we can make sure that the consumers also, who some of these things, this is Gwagwalada, for example. I don't say Gwagwalada. Our office, my colleagues who work around there, don't stay around there. But if anything goes wrong here, we need to get information. And we are saying there has to be a synergy between all parties that use the system. So we're trying to work out the way with the USSD, we'll design an application. Once this is done, we'll bring it up again for everybody to see. You can download it on your phones. It's just to see whatever the defect is, you let us know the issue is, you snap and send to us, and immediately we'll make sure something is done. This kind of stakeholders forum, thank next day for it. It is good we keep, talking to ourselves on these issues, because you see, we monitor the accidents that happen, and when we see some of these accidents, like I said, the accidents that are avoidable, what is the issue? Well, this goes there here. Some are ignorant, some are the issue of right of way. And that's why we've instructed the disco that any structure under the right of way, please. So what is right of way? Right of way, like I explained right of way. I explained right of way. I said for your lines that are coming, there are 3 lines on top. From the center one to your right, 5.5 meters. To your left, 5.5 meters. Now, why right of way is very important? I'll give you an example. Actually, that happened. There was a security man. The security house was encroaching right of way of the line. Now he bought the television. When I was trying to install the TV, the antenna with the pole, he put the antenna. Now he climbed the chair. As he raised the pole with the antenna, he touched the line. He bumped to death. The man, he got bumped to death. He died. The man died. Why? When we got there, the security house was directly under the line. If he had observed the right of way, even if no matter how you raise that antenna, there's no way you would have gotten in contact with the line. You would have been safe from this issue. That is show where conductor snapped and dropped inside somebody's compound, which means the compound was in the right of way of that line. And children were playing outside, and he snapped and dropped on one of the caught. Yes, he caught and dropped. Now, because we need to emphasize, consumers need to understand the importance of right of way. Because when these things happen, when we come to the consumer and say, please, you are encroaching the right of way, something has to be done to protect you. It's not the disco, it's to protect you from this accident, impending danger that we are seeing. So consumers get no, we can't do anything here, we must remain here, and we are showing them, even when they hear of what happened. We heard of the incident in Calabar, the viewing center. Conductor snapped, people were watching football match on the container, 11 people died. So all these are issues, and that's why NEMSA came on board to ensure that technical regulation, technical safety is being enforced. We are now going to ensure that the consumer gets the benefits. He enjoys regular power supply, he enjoys reliable power supply. And we have to ensure that we checkmate the disco, ensure that when there are issues against the disco, we call the disco to order. And when there are issues against the consumer, we call the consumer to order. Because we have issues where discos are reported that somebody is building a house directly under the line. It happens. And we tell the disco, if it doesn't stop, when it finishes that house, who is going to give you supply? If you don't give you supply, then it can't run the generator along. And by the time he sees the implication, he moves the structure and it goes back. So there's need for general education, general enlightenment, and the need for all of us to work together. Let us see ourselves as enemies. There's a need for us to come together, work together for the benefit of the industry. Because all of us are stakeholders. Every one of us here are stakeholders. And if everything works out fine, there will be no problem in the industry. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Usman Momo, AGM Technical Services, NEMSA, represented on behalf of MD Nelson. I want to especially appeal to us, because of rain. When we are all starting this program, some people do not believe that they will be able to come here from town because it was raining heavily in town. And here too, the rain started. But thank God for God's divine intervention. We have to go on our knees and thank God that we have a very important program today, and the rain was suspended for 6 hours. I mean, thank God we can see God. Yes. Thank you very much. We can see God in action. On that note, please, we started this program by 11 in the morning, and if you look at our time, we just spent about 90 minutes there. Some minutes after 11, we spent about 90 minutes there. And you will agree with me that sometimes there are things you don't hear on radio. There are things you don't read in the newspapers. We know that we all have busy schedule. But the truth of the matter is that you can't shave a man's hair in his absence. And you cannot, for our gender balance, you can't plait a woman's hair in her absence. And why we ask the different agencies to tell us what some in local parlance we call the go-to-reach. I was telling engineer Momo that this snap, this wire that they use for light, the thing cut. Now snap, but you be thinking that it's photograph. So I was asking him to break it down. When it comes to conductor, editing. Some people will not understand, so I have to give insight. But please come down to our level. Engineer Momo, once again, thank you for the beautiful presentation. Now, all of us here will be complaining about meter, estimated billing, migration. There is no perfect situation. At times, even in the bank, I recall that a transporter some days ago, the bank mistakenly transferred 2.something billion in his bank to his account. That means that even in the bank, somebody may be tired when they are trying to do reconciliation. They press one thing or the other and press the wrong figure. So, in the course of migration, if you want to acquire prepaid meter, I want to appeal to you especially that before you acquire prepaid meter, always go to the customer service center of the area offices where most of them are domiciled. Ask for a print out of your account history. It's very, very important because you can go to some of these discos when you migrate to from estimated to prepaid. They will tell you the account of the estimation is not traceable after some months. If you print out that account history, you keep them for record purposes. Then, when you want to get a new prepaid meter, when your meters must have been installed, I want to encourage us to write to the area managers requesting for a freezing. Get the point? Like the freeze account. Ask that the new prepaid meter, the estimation that you may have, ask that your prepaid meter should be frozen. What it means is that they should not bring this estimated billing account to the prepaid meter first for 6 months. Do you get my point? I'm speaking here because we are consumers. When they don't bring that bill to your estimation prepaid for 6 months, then maybe before now your monthly bill have been 20,000. Somebody just sleep, wake up on the wrong side of the bed, give you 50,000. Then you take prepaid meter and discover that you are consuming 5,000, 7,000. You know the margin will be wide. So the essence of you requested as consumers, from our own point of view, for your migration to be frozen, is that within 6 months, 8 months period, you'll be able to know scientifically, based on consistency, that within 6 months, 8 months, it's good enough for you to say this is purely an energy auditing. So, and in that case, if you have been receiving 30,000 monthly bill, and under the prepaid meter for 6 months, 8 months, you didn't change anything, you're now using 8,000. You can equally write to the disco and say, look up, after 6 months of freezing my account, this is my printout, this is the account history of the old one, can you reconcile? Because the discos, 11 discos are investors, they are in business. We are here to complement them. We are here to watch the facilities. We are providing security. So if you see that under the estimation, you are now consuming 5,000, and before you are getting 30,000, you can ask for the consideration. Then on the final note, before I invite AADC, there have been issues of some consumers who have prepaid meters. They may develop fault, and within 8 weeks or 2 months of asking for a change, replacement, or buying new meter, when they bring new meter, you know, if your meter is faulty within 8 weeks, you will not be on prepaid if you are on prepaid. Now, if you not get that new prepaid, there's what they call migration. At times, some discos, not AADC. Some discos, okay, that's just a lighter note. Some discos, when your meter is faulty for 8 weeks, and before, for 6 years or 4 years, you were using what they call revenue protection. And somebody will now come, like I said in the bank, there could be human error. Because the disco will say it's human error. Now, within 8 weeks of you waiting to be migrated, that space, some discos we input 200,000, 300,000 to your account. So that migration is safe because that time you will have been using something. Okay, 5 years you were using 5,000 monthly. 8 weeks, that's or 2 months that you just waited to get a new meter. They are not giving 200,000. And at times, the funniest thing that, you know, some concern to us as end users or consumers is that when they put salt pills in your new meter, they won't tell you. To us, from our own end as end users, it's unacceptable. And when they don't tell you, when you go and reload, they can program it that for every reload, maybe you are using 5,000 in the old meter that was faulty, they will take 30%, but take 50%. So what I'm saying in essence is that shine your eyes. When your meter is faulty, you are getting a new one. The one that is faulty, do a printout as soon as the last billing. When they bring the new one, after 6 months, do a printout. Check the difference. If something has been loaded inside structure bill that is within is unacceptable, you can raise issues. Raise with the disco area office. If it's not, the attention is not given, you escalate to the headquarters. If it's not given, you escalate to NAC forum offices. On the final note on before AADC comes on board, you know that like the discos are in business, but as electricity consumers, there are areas where we have new devices that we know we have vendors. When discos put armored cable or operator cable, there are people that used to come to vandalize this equipment. They will go and sell it and use for whatever reasons that is best known to them. But in some areas, what we have devised or what we are seeing as electricity consumers is that we sometimes do what we call protective casting. We separate the cable so that there won't be leakages. We put PVC pipe, maybe 12 bar, 30 bar, thick PVC pipe for water, not toilet soap. So we bury the cables. That's what we are doing. And put concrete, cast them. So that the one that will come out will be so short and will not be marketable for them. And other things we are doing as end users to protect some of this critical infrastructure that is in use in nursing. On this note, it is my honor and privilege to invite the head of project. Okay. A lot of presentation by AADC. And Barrister Oyebode Fadikwe would like to say something on behalf of the MD, CEO AADC. Thank you, Oyebode Fadikwe.
Thank you very much. I know it's almost lunchtime, 1:45. So we've been waiting for a long time. So good afternoon, everybody. Permit me to also adopt the protocol that have been on ground. First of all, I'm not going to take your time. I just want to tell you how grateful we are that you could be here this morning or since morning to listen to us. I know clearly that AADC is the organization on the spot today. Your silence all along is because you are keeping your gunpowder dry until question and answer time comes. I'm not sure you are going to ask NEC any question. You are not going to ask NEMSA any question. You are not going to ask any other person. It's AADC because We are the ones giving you the bills to pay. We are the ones withdrawing the supply from you or disconnecting you as the case may be. We are the ones that you see every day. But it's understandable. What I want to appeal for is this. Please always remember that we're not the only ones in the value chain. For instance, and I'm talking of what just happened between yesterday and today, we got a directive from TCN to say, drop Airport Road, drop Lugbe, drop Gariki. For what? On account of an equipment they use in protecting their own equipment. If we don't do it, it's either they forcefully knock everybody off or the station will go up in fire. But how do we control that? So we are also at the receiving end. 2, whatever money we get from you is not spent by us alone. As a matter of fact, we get just 25% of whatever you pay us. That is apart from the fact that even the cost of the generation itself, or at the cost at which we are selling, is a loss to us. These are difficult information to push down your throat, but these are the realities on ground. And so without taking much of your time, I want to appreciate you on behalf of AEDC. We have 2 presentations. One of them appear to be a little bit technical. If it becomes necessary, we may do that presentation. But the one that we think concerns you majorly now is about meter. We're not going to bore you with the story of how we got to where we are right now in terms of metering. We're just going to tell you that these are the things you need to do. I want to say confidently that much more than ever before, the current program instituted by NEC, which is MAP, is about the easiest process of getting a meter now. Yes, you can shake, with due respect, you can shake your voice. That is not to say that there are no challenges. There are challenges there, but I think it's a lot easier now. As a matter of fact, from what we have seen, it is customer driven. By the time you see the data, Osasu, I would like that we make this presentation in
PowerPoint.
Yes, PowerPoint,
yes.
So that customers can see clearly the data. I don't know whether we are ready for that. So that customers can see the data. Over 30,000 customers have applied. We have verified about at least 28,000. But guess what? Less than 15,000 customers have paid. And this thing is payment driven. So what it therefore means that it is the customers that are driving the project now. I had thought that with the amount of hue and cry that we had had about metering, by now we will be unable to cope with demand. And I'm happy NEC is here. The data are there. As of today, we are the best MAP compliant disco. NEC can stand up to say, I am telling a lie. No, they are here, thank God. But I'm sure Uya will not do that. So on that note, I want to give the microphone to my colleague. The issue of estimated billing, migration, and some other things, if it becomes necessary, my other colleague who is here, Chide, we take those questions. I have a retinue of colleagues here. Technical side, somebody just told me now that Abaji has not had light for years. With due respect, that's not correct. That is just incorrect. And they have sold that story to the media, and it's incorrect. Yes, you may not have light regularly, but to say that you have not had light for years is outrightly incorrect, and it's unfair. Thank you very much. Viola.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Abiola Kiosi. I'm project manager for MAP in AEDC. I'm very happy we are here today to interact with Gwagwalada residents, and well, we've all been talking about MAP, meter, so just for us to see how far we've gone in AEDC. And Mr. Barrister Oyebode was right in terms of MAP is actually customer driven, and also NEC can testify to that AEDC is leading in terms of map implementation in the whole of Nigeria. So, thank you very much. All right, so we're going to talk about our strategy, how management, AEDC management, intended map should be deployed. So, first of all, let us know our maps for AEDC. So for Mojek, we have, during the implementation of rollout of map by NEC, when they approved the launching of map, so NEC actually approved 900,000 meters, for AEDC to be rolled out within the 4 franchise area. So we have 3 maps. We have Mojek, we have Togo, and we have Meron. So Mojek is in charge of FCT and Kogi, while Meron is in charge of Nasarawa and Togo is in charge of Niger State. So those are our 3 maps for AEDC. So I'm going to briefly describe the entire map process so we're all on the same page. So for the map process, so the first thing the customer needs to do, alright, so map is meter asset provider. So before now, the discos, the distribution companies are responsible for purchasing the meters, for installing the meters at customer premises. So we now discovered that based this one reason or the other, and also consultation with the regulators, they brought up a regulation called meter asset provider. So what the regulation is supposed to do is for customers to be able to pay for their meters. So for example, you're a customer and you have the full amount of the full cost for the single phase meter, you will be able to pay for the meter and you'll be metered within 10 working days. Then also, NEC was also grateful enough to be able to introduce another option called paying in installments over the period of 10 years. So you're a customer, you don't have the full cost, you can pay via your vending amount. So the meter will be installed at the premise, and when you're vending, the cost of the meter will be removed. Then we also need to bear in mind, if you are going to pay in installments, there will be an interest calculation attached to that cost. So for example, for the cost of single phase meter, which is 36,991, if you are going to pay that within 10 years, there will be an interest element to that. So that's not the amount you'll be paying over the period of 10 years. So that's what map entails. So for AEDC, if you want to, for a customer, if you want to, request for a meter, all you need to do is to go to our website, www.abujaelectricity.com. So once you go to our website to initiate a request to be metered, then you fill in all the necessary details, your name, your phone number. Your phone number is very, very important. Then you also need to make sure you know your contract number. So now, on your AEDC bill, there's on the left-hand corner of your AEDC bill, there's something called contract number there. So there is where you're able to identify your contract number, because maybe down the line during the presentation, I will show one of the issues we are having during this implementation rollout. We discovered that there are some customers actually, referencing other people's contract number. So when you're making payments and you reference another person's contract number, that is the person AEDC will take the meter to be metered, you understand? So you need to know your contract number by identifying that on your AEDC bill for existing customers. But for new customers, there is a provision for you to come to our area offices, to fill the form 74, for LECAN to certify come to your premise to certify your apartment, to make sure that all the wiring, equipment, everything are according to standard, based on the presentation our NEPSA colleague gave earlier on. So once you fill in all your details, our set of engineers will come to your premise to do a load assessment of your premise. So all we need to do is to confirm, okay, are you using a single phase, would you need a single phase meter based on your load or your current load, or would you need a 3-phase meter based on your current load? Then not only that, we have a couple of customers, because one of the fallback or lessons learned we had during the capping period, we'll have customers going to make payments for meter. However, their premise are not ready to be metered. You understand? So that's one of the important aspects of site verification, to confirm that, okay, your premise is ready to be metered. Then also, make sure that all your wirings are according to AEDC metering standard and codes, because we have some customers dropping their meter points in their room. You get, so those are one of the essence of doing that site verification. So once the site verification has been done, you'll be advised. So we have a couple of customers that are sending these payment notifications to their friends or their colleagues. You know, so we need, as a customer, you need to make sure that AEDC formally informs you via SMS, email. In fact, we are having, we just introduced another option of writing letters now. So for the customer in Niger State, we've started writing letters to them. We've sent them to the area offices for the customers to pick up those letters. So we want to reach out via every medium for customers to get that payment notification. So once the customer is advised, once you make payment for your meter, then you be rest assured we'll meter you within 10 working days. So at the beginning of this program, when someone was asking, okay, a lot of complaints, for us to be able to know that AEDC is in this, you know, for this metering program, we actually brought a set of customer care representatives. They're all outside, so in case you have any issue or any complaint or anything that you know you needed direction on, after this program, our customer care representatives, they are out there to be able to, you know, to help you, assist you with any complaint you have. Next please. So what is our status of MAP rollouts? So currently we have 63% of all our requests all come from FCT, while 18 come from, so our total request right now is over 40,000. Now, during the presentation, I'm going to talk to you about mobile map metering, which had actually increased, increase this map implementation. Then 18% from Nasarawa, 15% Niger, and Kogi, we have 4% in Kogi. So I'm sure we all know the reason why we have that. So
I don't know the reason. Baba, you know. And I want to know. Baba, you know. I don't know.
Alright. So one of the things we've discussed with our map, so Kogi is in charge, Project is in charge of Kogi and FCC. So one of the things we'll say we're going to do is to do adequate sensitization. We actually started that in Kogi, for us to be able to, beat up that number, because that margin is far too much. So what do we have now? So far, like I told you that this had already embarked on an initiative called mobile map metering, which I will discuss later. So which had actually increased our figure. So far we had like over 40,000 requests, and we've done site verification to the tune of 39,000. We've sent SMS notification to the tune of 39,006, and also emails out. Next please. So customers are paid, like over 17,000 customers are paid, and we've metered like over 16,000. So this figure was as a result of the mobile map metering that we actually embarked on and actually increased our figures. Next please. We might get to less like 8,000 before the end of the month. Now, where is Gwagwalada? So this is our installation of map meters per area offices. So what is Gwagwalada? Gwagwalada is currently, I think, within the first 10 area offices that we've installed. So far we've installed 798 for meters for Gwagwalada area office alone, which means we're actually doing well, and we're actually, Gwagwalada is one of the people that we're considering. Alright, so what do we put? What do we have in place? To be able to tell customers that these meters are here, just come over, for this metering. So we have a lot of sensitization program in place. We have flyers. I'm sure we've all gotten flyers and FAQs that our customer care representatives have shared. So we have banners, we have souvenirs. Then we also hold stakeholder engagements, because for places in rural places like Niger, Kogi, where you can actually reach these customers are, via this grassroots engagement, this stakeholder engagement. So we have that in place, and we've done in Maraba, we've done in Karu, we've done in Lokoja, we've done in Mina. So ever since MAP started, we've done like over 25 stakeholder engagements. Then that is our able barrister Oyebode giving in NTA, for live appearance talking about MAP. So we are reaching out to. So we also goes to Brekete family radio show, to talk about this map, all what customer needs to know and that. Okay. We also, like someone when, was it the NEMSA? Yeah, I think it was the NEMSA, our NEMSA colleague, I can't remember. Oh yeah, the CPC that commended, on our social media team. So we have them on our Facebook, we have map being sensitized on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and also on AEDC website. So yeah, so what are the challenges we are facing? So first of all is lack of confirmation of payment notification. So we discovered that when customers pay, the customers does not get this notification. So what we've told our partner banks is whenever this customer pay, you need to know that they have actually made payments. Another thing we've discovered, using the wrong contract number for your registration. So in addition to a customer going online to make requests for meter, you can actually come to our area offices, for you to be registered, to make this request. So what we've encouraged customers is for them to come along with their AEDC bill. It's very, very important because we have a couple of customers that they've actually paid, but on their payment reference, because when you pay, we would have told you that, okay, when you're referencing in the remark section, reference your contract number. So we have customers that are referencing other people's contract number, which, for example, now I pay with my colleague his contract number. When we are going to meter him, well, we will take this to his house because is what we have on our database and all the details. We will direct that meter there. So we have customer coming to the office saying, okay, I've made payment. The guy would have brought his evidence of payment, but bring your bill. When we compare that, they are two totally different things. So customers using the wrong contract number for registration. Then also the notification we are sending out is far below. Before this used to be like 30-something%, so it can actually risen now to 40-something because of the sensitization we've done, over the last 1 month. But this is still below. We've told customers, okay, we've verified your site, come and make payment, but customers are yet to make payment. And another thing we also discovered that because right now NEC they are still deliberating on the interest rate for the installments. So once we have that window open where customers that can pay in installments, then this metering gap, this difference between completed site verification and payment and installation, the difference will be so much, will be lower. Then another challenge we're also actually facing. So when we send SMS notification to customers have do not disturb settings enabled on their phone. So we already sent out this notification, but they won't get it. You understand? So another thing we also encourage customers is whenever you have do not disturb setting configured on your phone, try and disable it, because these customers probably they don't have email. You understand? So if you don't have email and you have a do not disturb setting configured on your phone, how are we going to reach you to communicate the payment instructions to you? So that was why we actually brought up the other third idea of writing letters to these customers and call them to come and pick up their letter for payment. Next please. So what is mobile map metering? We had a strategy session with NEC like over a month ago on all the discos were there, and all discos were presenting on the implementation of map so far. So what NEC actually gave guidance on that this map initiative should not only be based on demand-based driven. We should consider the fact where AEDC will go to a location, will go to probably an estate or a plaza and meter the entire residents of that plaza. So that is the initiative for mobile map metering. So what we intend to do is we would have picked an estate or a plaza and we'll say, okay, this plaza wants to meter the entire plaza. So ahead of that, they would have done customer sensitization, would have told customers what they need to bring on board for that day. So when we get there that day, customer come in, register, right there and there, we'll do the site verification. Also there, the customer, once we've done this verification to confirm, okay, if this customer needs a single phase or a 3-phase meter, then the customer makes payment and the customer will be metered that day. So the idea is within 24 hours, maximum 48 hours, we want to meter in a particular environment. So that's the idea of mobile map metering. So we all go there with our boss, our installers, our metering engineers, our customer service personnel, even bank people that will collect money right there and there. So that's the idea of the entire mobile map metering. So what does it entail? Simply, a customer walks in, to register for meter. After that, our engineers will conduct site verification of his premise. Once that has been done, the customer will pay. From there, we'll register the customer and meter is installed. Then we certify the customer and also make sure that the customer can buy, credit, also can load his meter. So that's the entire, end-to-end overview of the mobile map metering. So we are estimating for an average person or a customer, we're able to meter him within 1.5 hours. That's the idea of mobile map metering. So we've already done that. We concluded the pilot phase in Garaki at UTC last week. We did that last week, and we were able to meter like 504 customers. So the next place we are going to is Aso Gardens in Kubwa. That's next week, which will conduct this mobile map metering. Now we have that deployment plan in place where we'll meter the entire estate or plaza or a community for the customer. Now, so just for us to see what our success stories are, this is just photo gallery. So this is our mobile map metering. This is where a customer at UTC was initiating a request for meter. This is where his site was actually verified. The customer makes payments here and his meter was installed. So that's our photo gallery for UTC. Next please. So that's the entire team. So we have our customer care representative there. This is where we have our installation. So bearing in mind that we did all this right there in UTC. You understand? Our mobile map. So this is the entire mobile map metering team and doing the processes, all the photo galleries. So in Katampe, this is like different pictures of all our map installation. In Katampe, we had 56 meters installed in Katampe. Then I think we have Gwagwalada. Next please. Okay, in SSS quarters in Cairo, we installed 20. So these are during the installation processes. Yeah, Gwagwalada, behind Gwagwalada Council, we installed 22 meters. Alright, so if you need additional information, we have a map project office dedicated to this, and our office is at 56 Yaoundé Street, who says on 6 FCT. Or if you need to know any of our area offices, all you need to go to our website, www.abujaelectricity.com/our offices. So we have lists of all our area offices in case you need any additional information. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, AGC, for the beautiful presentation. Do we have Regional Manager, Safety, FCT South? Yes. Please, talk to us in 5 minutes. 5 minutes so that we can now hit the ground for questions. Crazy bills. Okay. Quotas, estimated billing quotas. Quotas. Who will speak on quotas? We are going to take 2 estimated billing quotas. Then we'll move to. So, Chief, let's start with you. Then one other estimated billing, Chief. Introduce yourself.
I'm Ibe, the BOD, the coordinator of quotas coordinating, the community leader. I was taken aback to get this thing organized in my community. No person notified me. I should have been the person to collect by people to be here. So I was notified. And I feel that such a program going up in our community, I will switch time to be here. And I will here to be happy with the program. Because I'm aware for waiting. I have to appreciate you people. This map was a discussion with us with the area manager for a long time, almost 3 months. And we requested him that any time we be on board, we should be notified to give information to our people. But so far, nothing is bad. Things spoil to be corrected. Things spoil to be corrected. On estimated detail, most of us run into problems with our AA meters here. Either working or something stealing and so forth. So we are connected to direct line. Our experience is too bad that for students today, some of us are paying 18,000, 20,000, 15,000 every month. See not something that is double, a meter. It's not there, and estimating it 15,000. The less we do have is 10,000, and it's very horrible. We are appealing to you to come to our aid. All those concerned, let us go with the map and make it solid for us, so that we will not be having tears in our eyes every day. So, thank you for staging this program. Thank you very much.
Present the community.
Okay.
Yes. My name is Comrade Michael Malo. I'm representing a community in all Kutubu, that is Park Road and Basa and West Basa community. It's a very large community. First of all, I want to appreciate AEDC, because AEDC gave us a transformer 500 kVA this year, so we appreciate you for that, because we have suffered a lot. There was no light. I went to your headquarters and they had our cry and they gave us that transformer. First, sincerely, we want to say we appreciate the company. We are bringing appreciation letter we are calling. Then at the same time, we are experiencing a lot of challenges there. A lot of challenges that we are facing is that if you look at from the main road, what they are doing, what Nigeria normally do is that when always like to do eye service. Eye service in the sense that they have put concrete pole from the main road. Just if you move inside, they stop on the way where the transformer is. And then down inside where majority of the houses are is wooden poles. And these wooden poles are giving us a lot of problems. Some are falling, any little thing, you know. In fact, it's very, very dangerous. I want to appreciate the presenters. The danger of all those things that you have said today. And I thank God you know the danger. But since you know the danger and you have abandoned us, and you allow us using wooden poles, and most of which has been danger, most of the communities' life. So I am here on behalf of this community to appeal to this company. Please and please, we are appealing. As you came to our aid, you gave us 500 transformer, KVAs. And we want you to do same by giving us concrete poles. Concrete poles. We have serious problem. Concrete poles, and they change the conductors. The conductors are of lower, standard. So these are the issues that we are facing there. So, and that is why I came purposely, because of the challenges that we are facing. Please and please, I want the company to take that into consideration. And at the same time, again, and the issue of estimated billing, because of the wooden poles, most of the time we have problem of this light. When light comes, because of this problem of what we call understandard conductor, we don't have enough light. Some of the houses, because their light, most of them are going up. So that's the problem. And when at the end of the month, 10 people will come. People will now begin to count the number of days that they have consumed the light. And if you look at the number of, maybe in a month, you have consumed light maybe for 10 days or 7 days, and then they are bringing a bill for a month. You know, that one is causing a lot of problems. Most of the customers are not happy about that. So, and we want to appeal that we want to have concrete poles we want to have standard conductors so that we have what we're supposed to get. Then that will boost our morale in times of paying our bills the way it's supposed to be. And also I want to appeal that that area should also be visited so that we'll also key into this prepared meter, because those that don't have prepared meter here are few. We don't have much people there. Thank you very much.
Okay. Good afternoon, my community members and the agencies represented there. My name is Mr. Chukwuka. I'm a member of the Festival community. I'm one of the secretaries of the community. What I want to say here is on this estimated view. I had the privilege of being a victim on this overbilling. I noticed that sometimes in March, hello? Okay. I noticed sometimes in March, when I went to pay my bill, some of the officials of AEDC came to my house, disconnected me, despite the fact I paid 10,000 in January, paid another 10,000 in the same January, making 20,000. When they came, they said they didn't revenue, I pleaded, I said this is just New Year and nothing is happening. They went ahead and disconnected me. And when I went, I paid, because that very particular month in question in March, I paid 5,000 only. They wanted me to add more money. I had a balance of 25,000. And I went and added another 5,000, making 10,000, remaining 20,000. Yeah. But surprisingly, when they came in March, they came with, surprisingly when they came in March, they came with a disconnection order that I should pay another money. I said, I have just finished paying 5,000 naira and they ordered me. I went to the office. I was asked to pay 15,000 naira, which I did. You know that in that same March, that 15,000 naira was returned back as a bill into my account. I went haywire. Thank goodness there was this analysis that came with it. And in this analysis, from 1st of March to 7th of March, I was given 1,500 units consumed. From 8th of March to 12th of March, the total unit was 440,000 units. Just to complement that payment that I made that was returned. And that, when I noticed it in that analysis, yes, Mr. Lotu is here. I went to him. I went to the commercial manager. The team agreed me so much that even the secret, I made a lot of noise, which I never did in my life. At the end of the day, thank goodness, when I presented it to them, they saw it. I don't know how many. Today, as of today, that account has been reconciled on their own. A neighbor of mine again was involved in the same overview. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Some of these cases are similar to each other. Yes. And like you can never exhaust the complaint. I want to appeal to us that yes, can you stand up for a question, please? She's representing the GM customer services here of AEDC. So you can't exhaust some of these issues. You have the service center, you have the area office, And before the end of this program, I will probably give you my number, so that at times it's not the procedure that when there's no follow-up, things are not done. I can, even though we have some issues of some challenges, liquidities and what have you, but on the average, comparatively, there are discourse that when there are issues, even when we talk to their chairman of board or their MD, we will know that we will not get resolved till eternity. We are not, it's not yet to rule, but we can assure you that with AEDC that we have here, at the risk of sounding like, speaking on their behalf, if there are issues at the local level that have not been addressed, we will always provide some telephone numbers or email for you to follow up. So that the reason why we are here and spending our time is that we are here to complement each other. And we can assure you that some of us here, we are not on the payroll of the discourse. We are serving the public interest. We must demand better services. Things must be done as in line with global best practices. So the reason why we are here is that for them to know that they have responsibility to us, which they have been doing, and we'll continue the discussion. Thank you, Mr. Chiku, for that. Okay. Next question.
I'm living in Kujeru. What I just want to tell this man is that they should let AEDC know what they are doing. Because some people just sit down for their seats, dictating how much they will give each house for that bush. We are the people buying pole for ourselves. We are the people installing the transformer. Upon all, they are suffering us every time. What they did about 3 days ago now, they give us, people they have been giving 4,000, 3,000, they give us 40,000 per house that we should pay. If we don't pay, they are coming to disconnect. What we want to go from the community to tell them now, they should remove all their cable till they're ready to give us sufficient light and normal pricing. They overcharge us too much. Well, some people will sit down for their table in under AC, dictating how much they will charge this on people inside bush. We are the people buying cable, buying all those connectors for the transformer, but upon all they sit down, collecting every money from us, and we are planning to go and meet them for their station here with DPO. Before we know what to do. Nothing there easy for Nigeria for anybody to take easy. And we won't take it easy for them. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you for that.
My name is we the people in the street, we be the customers to this commission to Mecca. I don't know whether we be the customer with the supporting your people. In any way we can. So my problem is that this, I want to state categorically here that this prepared meter has failed most of us in the state. And even myself, I want to complain here. I want to make it clear here that prepared meter has failed me. Because in every 2 weeks, 1,500 is what I used to recharge every 2 weeks. And within that 2 weeks, I don't have AC in my house. I'm only using fridge and television in my house. And most times I used to travel. But before I come back, the whole money will finish. The credit will finish. So that is the problem I have. If they say that we don't have lights always in this space. So that's just my problem that I want to state here. That prepared has failed me. Most of us in the street has failed us.
Good afternoon, ADC staff and our honorable customers. My starting up is ADC. Actually, we appreciate them.
But one thing I'm seeing now,
How did you appreciate the new transformer?
I will say that. So, one thing I'm saying is about recharging office. What I'm seeing there, I'm seeing different vendors. I don't know, before it was not like that. But now, you see some at the gate. Okay, you want recharge? Okay, you want recharge? I said, how many of you are now collecting recharge? We normally see them on the table when we are recharging. In table, we are seeing them. What is your own work? You are standing by the gate, asking people, are you recharging? Are you recharging? So, AED should look into this thing. I think there is some business. Yes, yeah. Please check that thing very well, because there is some foul play. I am seeing that. So another thing is the supply of your light to customers is not regular. So mostly we people in quarters, what are we appeal? We need light in the night, not in the afternoon, because in the night we see thieves. Thieves don't allow us to sleep. But we will not see if there is light. I think this thing will be able to be seen who is coming and who is going. Please, AEDC, we want light in the night, not in the afternoon. Thank you. Chief of Boston of Bansaki, JOP.
Good afternoon. My name is Mr. Linus Eka. I'm speaking from are you listening to me? Okay. I'm from Jeremiah Oteni Road. Jeremiah Oteni Road from Gwagwalada. Okay, are you hearing me? My question is, I was paying large new person there about 3 years now. I live there. I connect light 2007. I was paying a bill of 4,000 naira per year, per month. But when the thief comes to Gwagwalada, okay, are you hearing me? Okay. When the thief comes to Gwagwalada our transformer, they see the whole transformer. At the month of August 2018.
Which area, sir?
They see the transformer 2018. That was the August.
They stole the tape for all the whole transformer.
They see the whole transformer. Then we did not get light the month of June this year. So when the community put head together, they wrote a letter. They are bringing the bill. They wrote a letter to stop the bill. They actually stopped the bill. But when they start to install a new transformer at the month of June, if they want to bring the bill, can they give the estimate of the bill that you are, the light that you are not using? How much so when they brought the bill to me July this year, they are brought 92,000 naira. Waiting for what? So that is my appeal. They should look. I wrote my application here. I've already sent my complaint for area office. So I don't know whether I will submit my letter here.
Where was the new transformer installed? Where was it installed, the new transformer? Okay, the first bill. The first bill after the transformer is 90,000. They will take it off your matter. Who is responding on behalf of AEDC? Let us pray so that they can respond to some of the questions. Some of the issues, then we'll continue from there. So that area manager, please. This is our area manager.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I stand on the existing protocol. My name is Olasheni Agunpopo, area manager AEDC Gwagwalada. It's really nice to have our major stakeholders here, our consumers. We thank you for your time to be here today. And I'll just go straight into some of the questions that were raised. I think it's important that we answer some of these questions. Firstly, Igwe Echendu, we apologize for we apologize for the communication gap. We had actually sent text messages. We attached some flyers to the bills, the available flyers that we had. We attached to the bills just so that we can inform most of our customers to attend this function. So we apologize I didn't get. He's somebody that we relate almost on a weekly basis, and unfortunately he has left there. But sir, please kindly let him be aware that we extended our apologies to him. Sir, we appreciate also that you have recognized the fact that we replaced your transformer at Park Road. Let me just speak a little about this, because I know some customers will also come and say their transformer has not been replaced for some time, and they've not had light, they've been in darkness. Why some communities will also say that in 2 weeks, we have some communities that their transformers were replaced in less than 2 weeks, some in 2 weeks. We appeal to our customers to try as much as possible to be responsive to payment. We are a business organization. We have lots of maintenance works to carry out. It is our responsibilities to replace transformers and to maintain our lines. We have some communities that the moment their request comes to my table, I will not sit in that office. That is the truth. There are communities that respond to payment. We have a community in Gwagwalada that they pay their current billing every month, and they pay a particular percentage of their outstanding. We have communities like that. So when communities like that, I am not saying, please do not get me wrong, I am not saying we don't attend to other communities, but when communities like that have issues, you know, by the time we have the records of the payment pattern of these communities, and we try as much as possible to hasten the process of replacement and maintenance. However, he has also talked about the wooden poles that require replacement. I'm assuring you that we are going to speed up that process and to make sure that we replace the wooden poles with concrete poles as quickly as possible. Then I would also like to talk about the MAP scheme, which we have so many of our customers here that have complained about estimated billing but haven't keyed into. We appeal to our customers on a daily basis that the ultimate solution to complaints around perceived estimated billing is metering.
Yes, a solution to it.
You will be shocked that a customer will come screaming on top of his voice to say that this is not my bill. This is not my bill. At that point, to ensure that we correct that, we carry out load assessment, we do all our computations to make sure that we give you a perfect billing. However, you also that you have complained, now MAP it's at your fingertips. You will still find customers that say no. No, I don't want any meter. Or no, I'm not ready for any meter. Or for some reason or the other, they have not still keyed into MAP. The earlier we key into MAP scheme, the better it is for us. You reduce the number of footfalls into our office to complain around estimated billing reduces. The number of complaints generally reduces, and you are sure that you are paying 100% for what you have consumed, except for, of course, some customers that are involved in energy tech. Because the truth is, in as much as we know that metering is the ultimate solution to the issues around estimated billing and what have you, we have also recorded some huge cases of energy theft. And what that does to us is that, for example, let me just give you a very short analysis on what that does to us. The supply that gets into your house in naira terms is 10,000 naira, for example. But because you have bypassed your meter, the meter is only able to capture 1,000 naira. You are killing the discos. There is also a question that was raised around 90. I want to be sure, sir, that you got. Are you saying that you got 96,000 naira as a current bill, or that was your total outstanding?
2,000.
Sir?
Say, I'm the one who brought that complaint.
Yes, sir.
They was how much? 4,000 naira a month. When the thief come and vandalize and remove the transformer, we did not get light. From that August to June, when they brought that bill to life, they wrote 92,000 naira.
Are you with your bill, sir?
All my bill is here.
Okay, so I'll take this up as soon as we round out. I would like to see your bill. Okay. Because that is a bit. Mr. Lola, yes, am I right, sir? Mr. Lola Adeshebu. Yes, sir. Sir, you also talked about crazy bidding.
Yes.
Sir, you agree with me that I just want to let you know how we carry out our bidding process.
You can say
Okay, well, okay, let me say, you don't need to agree with me, sir. That one, Kuje Road enjoys a minimum of 18-hour supply daily. That's one. That is not to say that your bill should be 40,000 naira. Now, we have distribution transformers, distribution transformer meters, DT meters, attached to transformers in Bujeru. There are customers, I can also tell you, sir, that there are customers on that same Bujeru that may get a bill of 3,000, 4,000 naira.
yes. Let me ask you one question.
No, let me finish. Yes, now, at the end of every month, we carry out readings on these distribution transformers. So we look at the population of the total population of the people tied to that transformer. We look at the total population of metered customers, and with that we compute the billing for individual houses that are on postpaid. Now, sir, what we will do in your case is to carry out a load assessment on your premises to find out what the consumption, I mean the next to perfect billing that your house should have. But we still advise you to key into the MAP scheme. We have some customers, particularly on Kujeru, I stand to be corrected. There are some high volume, high consuming customers that run away from meters. We have some customers that we have issued meters to that in 1 month, in 2 months, because they see the hike in their consumption, they come back to say their meters were stolen. For example, cold room users, commercial customers. At the end of the month, they come back, some with grossly underbill. They come back to tell us that their meters were stolen. We have a history, we look at their vending history, we look at how that has increased. At the end of the day, they come and say their meters are stolen. We are not saying that is your case, sir. We'll look into your case critically. We'll take this also out of this meeting to find out what has informed that, sir. Yes, sir. You talked about different people approaching you at the area office. Before now, sir, you must have noticed long queues at the area offices or our cash points. I can't imagine a customer that has worked hard for his money, he comes to the area office or to AEDC cash offices to make payments and is in the sun waiting for hours. We have looked at that critically. You say, we know that we are customer facing. It's usually difficult to even get the customer to bring out their money. And for those that want to come and pay, they come into the area office and form a long queue like an anaconda snake. We have looked at that to say, how can we reduce these queues? That is what has led to the bringing up of vendors, more vendors, to help to reduce the queues and also make the process seamless. That is why you must have noticed that. So the people you find in the area office that walk up to you are different vendors that also want to earn a bit of a commission, trying to make the payment come through their companies. So that is why that is.
Let the public know.
Let the public know. Because some of us don't know. Then the light supply.
The light supply.
The light supply.
They like the supply situation.
Invest in the water.
Yes. The supply situation that you talked about, it is a function of availability. However, what we do is that we try as much as possible to release supply power to our customers when they are available. You have said you want supply in the night.
Yes.
There are small and medium enterprises that also will not survive without supply in the day. So we try as much as possible. As soon as the supply is available, we know that this period we need to give to small and medium scale enterprises. This period also they need supply in the night. For people that probably have gone out in the morning, they want to come and rest, they also need power. But when power is available to us, we distribute 100%.
We are within your constituency, your city. Please and please, like we have said, today is Saturday, and want to appreciate the fact that you have spent your time to be here. And sorry, we want the remark. You have a remark, next sir. We'll take two remarks to what he has said. After this, we'll take two more questions. I wish that we are not all in a hurry, but it's not possible. There will be other engagements, and we need to live here. The time that we are marked is to be here from 10 in the morning till 2. That will have been 4 hours. And in the next 12 minutes, we'll have been here for 3 hours. So, and we still want to try and stick to that around that 2 o'clock. Gentleman in car, please come to the front.
Good afternoon, everybody. Since my question goes on, I represent some communities, just two communities, Wako and Giri. For some time now, let's say late last year, I want to release the police is the area manager. Out of from last year, end of last year anyway, we discovered that the kind of supply given to us looks somehow. In the sense that we are using one line before, maybe the feeder, both ourselves, the green quarters, Barracks, Ido, Dosaniki, and Sabo Ido. But it got to the point that the line was being separated. L32 and L31. And most times, all those villages that we live the same life before, they get like steady. Let's say at least 18 hours a day or a day. But in Giri, main Giri town and Wako, we don't have light. If we must have light, it's only maybe 2 hours, it will be off. The only time you have light up to 4 hours or something there about is when they are sharing bill and when they are collecting bill. And you calculate the totality. In a month, we don't have more than at least 8 days. And 8 days, that is not full days, that is when you have those mass light. But there was a time I had to contact, call him. You remember the other day I called you. When there's an issue, I was going to call you, then you might not know me. But the most of the staff, all they know to me, they ask them. I call you, or you give your own version that time. I say, okay, I don't know the issue was resolved. But since then, up to now, since I've been talking to you, just yesterday we have like 4 hours. Or okay, from yesterday night till another time 4 o'clock yesterday. Probably because of this meeting that we're talking to you. Yes. Since then up to now, don't have that again. And this is a continuous issue. When I have some staff, ask them, they know me when I call them, what's happened now? Even the service engineer, Bako doesn't pay light, we don't pay bill. But if you say Bako doesn't pay, is it everybody that doesn't pay bill? Must you use all the person's problem to punish every other person? That is where we remain up to today. But those that doesn't know, when they say, maybe they don't like them, I call them, they say, I'm an engineer. When Ajala was here, we worked together. When Jere was here, we worked together. When Nazuka was here, we worked together. Everybody, we know how everything goes on there. If there's any problem, we resolve it, sit down and resolve it amicably. Then go back to business. But why must we be being punished like this way? It's only when they're coming to get thinking, say that we don't need paper. You're simply giving it to us. Because they need the money. No matter how small, some people are still paying. So that is our complaint here now. Apart from all this estimated bill, the high bill, that is a continued existence. I think the solution to that is this limiter. Thank you very much.
Briefly, please, we need to leave here.
Good day, everybody.
Your name.
My name is Jonah Imac. By the grace of God, I have done one business or the other with AEDC for over years. And fortunately, I'm living in Wako community of Gwagwalada. We have an issue with AEDC that I think people need to come to our rescue. First of all, I want to thank AEDC first for giving us a transformer that started after 4 months, and they brought a new one yesterday. I say may God bless them for that. But apart from giving us a transformer, the major problem we have is that Gwako community, we don't have light in Gwako community. And each time we ask, why are we not having light? The answer we get from AEDC is, we are not paying bill. In a community that is more than 5,000 people, and you say they are not paying bill, I don't think a community more than 5,000 people should be all mad people. If everybody in that community is not paying bill, there should be one person that is paying bill. So you cannot tell me that the population more than 5,000 are not paying bill at the same time. But
a special appeal. You know, the reason why we are here is to get solution. From both sides, nobody can intimidate the others. I'm representing you. I'm not collecting any money from ADC. Yes. You understand? And I will not collect any money from ADC. I'm representing consumers. So please, make your point. If there are issues, if there are challenges, we'll give you our number from different agencies. You see NAC, the regulatory agency. You see CPC. You see every other person here. So we are here because we want to follow up on your issues. So please, I know you are angry. Let's make the issues. Let us follow up your issues.
Sir, the issue is this. The issue and my point is that
We are tired of being punished. I am saying, I mean the chief of the community this morning before coming here. The Zaki was the one that said she come here. And we discussed the same issue. That we in Gwagwalada are tired of being punished for what's the crime that other people are committing. We have issue of number 2, whereby in my own valley, in my own presence, they will come and disconnect somebody in my own neighbor light, and after 2-3 hours, you see somebody is coming to connect that same light and collect 1,000 naira. And somebody will sit down in his office and say this community is not paying me, and I will pay my bill, and I will be punished for the crime that somebody else is committing. So what I think we should do in this case, sir, I think EADC in Gwagwalada, if they need maybe more hands to do their work, or anyhow they want to do it, in order for them to know who is paying me and who is not paying me, so that I will not be paying my bill and then at the same time being punished for the sake of somebody that is not paying the bill. As I'm talking to you now, I calculated the last time before I confirmed and packed up. I calculated the number of hours we have like in a whole month. And I discovered that what the number of hours we have like in a whole month was 11 hours in a whole month. 11 hours in a whole month. I brought all the calculation with me. 11 hours in a whole month. And I calculated for like 6 months. Some month we have 13 hours like in a whole month. The highest month we have having light was a month we have 36 hours light in a whole month. That was our best month. So please, I am appealing that we should stop being punished for the crime that we did not committed. Thank you. Sorry.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I adopt the existing protocol. My name is Chukwuemeka Smith. Before I speak, I particularly want to acknowledge the assistance of Mr. Olaseni. I didn't know he was here because I was beaten, and his coming to Gwagwalada helped to right a few wrongs. Even though we've never seen since then, I'm glad he's here and there. My question is, when we were getting the enlightenment, the gentleman who handed me the mic said that if you have some money you feel you were overbilled for, and then you now get metered. When you get metered after 6 months or thereabout, you can have reconciliation. And he stopped there. That's where my own question is starting. What happens with the reconciliation? Because I happen to be in that situation myself, where I was being billed over 13,000 naira a month. And I'm not a welder. And I don't see what I do with the power given me. And then I maintained the payment of 5,000 naira monthly for over a year. Eventually, I was given a meter by the headquarters there because I had to write. I had a very unsavory experience with one of his field officers that necessitated my writing a letter of complaint stroke appeal for the meter. And that's what made the meter now come to me. Incidentally, it came without his knowing, because after a few months, 3 months precisely, I still got another call from the Gwagwalada office here for another meter. And I told them the truth, that I don't need it again, given a meter. And then the letter came to verify, which was true. Now, what I'm saying is, I paid that money, and then after getting this meter now, for the months I've used it, I've calculated my consumption, and it's coming to less than 1,000 naira a month. Firstly, I used the unit that came with the meter. And then I now recharged the 5,000 naira that had mapped out from my salary as for AEDC. I used it to recharge. And it stayed there for more than 5 months. So I am convinced that I was being overbilled as at that point, even as I repeatedly was victimized for not paying that 13,000 plus. I maintained 5,000 naira and they were removing my light, and I will go, I'll pay penalty, I'll get reconnected. But now I realize that even at that 5,000 naira, I was being overbilled. So what happens then to me? I was guided by one of the staff at the headquarters there, who told me that I can request for auditing after 3 months. And I by myself, included it in the letter of appeal and complaint I wrote to them, a copy of which I have here, received and stamped, that they should come to do that for me after 3 months. So I am asking now, where do we go from there? Was I supposed to go back and write a second letter inviting them to come and do what I had already specified in the paragraph 2 of my complaint and appeal? Please, I need to get an answer to this. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I have 2 questions, and mostly I am dwelling on the regulatory bodies. Anywhere, my name is Namdas Noel. Anywhere I entered, if I happen to get a poor service, particularly in Nigeria, I mostly blame the regulatory bodies. Because I say, especially like bank, if I go to bank and I happen to have a poor service in the bank, mostly I blame the regulatory bodies in the financial sector. Now, my question here, I am making a suggestion to the regulatory bodies here. 1, issue of some rich men in the community donating transformers. We have a case somewhere in a particular community that the person, the rich man, wants to donate a transformer to the community and approaching the NEPA body in that community. He is trying to negotiate that since you people for a long period of time you are unable to provide transformer for this community. Being a member of the community, I want to buy a transformer for the community and donate to the community. But he now presented his conditions. The conditions are these. He said, you have to take off building this community for a certain period of time, so that after this, now this transformer belongs to you. At times, the AEDC will come to your house to disconnect your line, not because you have not paid the current bill, but because of an outstanding on your bill, which accrues as a result of the difference between, okay, I am billed maybe in the month of May, I was billed maybe 5,000 naira. So in coming to the month of June, the bill now jumped from 5,000 to 10,000 naira. And based on the suggestions that you should be able to maintain the previous payment pending the time they are going to reconcile your account. But you find out that there is a situation whereby while you are continuing with the previous amount on your bill, then tabling your complaints, trying to address reconcile your account, then the AEDC will come and disconnect you because you have an outstanding on your estimated billing. So I am appealing to the regulatory bodies also to look into working out modalities, how these things can always be resolved amicably and peacefully, so that, as the moderator always says, we should have a win-win situation.
Thank you.
My last question goes to the AADC. In Quarters community, I think they will agree with me all here that we are one of the most loyal and complying customers in Gwagwalada here. But it is very, very unfortunate that we are the ones that don't have a supply of light. Like he said, he was responding to a Kuje man, that he said the Kuje man can bear him witness that they have almost 18 hours light, 18 hours light in 24 hours. But we in our in Quarters community, in the month of May and June, we were trying to applaud AEDC that when you are counting the hours of light you have in a month, so in a day you nearly have 18 hours. But as it is now, we cannot boast of having like 10 hours light in 24 hours.
Closing remark, closing prayer.
Thank you very much. Valued AEDC customers, I want to really appreciate you for airing some of your complaints. Very important. I think that's the essence of this stakeholder meeting, so that we can take your complaints, and we as regulators, we have this as an avenue to know whether our regulated entity, AEDC, is adhering to the provisions of our regulations. I will just quickly address the issue of donation of transformers. This was a very thorny issue in the sector some years back, and I think 2013 the regulator came up with a regulation called Investment into the Network Regulation. I just abbreviated it. Now what that regulation does, which is very important, is that before you decide to buy a transformer, to donate it to your service providers, go and meet with your service provider. Get what we call a project agreement. Now that project agreement will try to stipulate the conditions of that your donation. If you say it is free, it will document that. If you say, I'm giving this transformer, it costs me XYZ amount of money, and I want to be based on my electricity bills for XYZ month, that project agreement will recognize it, but that protects you. It is not after you bought a transformer, they've energized it. Once the AEDC energizes a transformer that doesn't have a project agreement, it is assumed donated. Please, I want to state that very clearly. It's assumed donated. So please, do not fall into that trap. They will say, don't worry. Make sure you first of all go to them, tell them this is what you want to do, and get a written agreement on how you can go about it. That protects you, that protects AEDC, and if a dispute arises out of that, you come to the regulator, we can step in. We need to begin to operate like other developed clients. We just need to do that, and that is best practice. With respect to overbilling and estimated billings, I think I tried to mention it earlier on. If you are not satisfied, or if you're convinced that you are overbilled, please don't just go and pay any amount and go home. AEDC will count the timelines, and now they are very good at adhering to some of our timelines and come and disconnect you. However, if you know that they have overbilled you, you gave me 10,000 naira, but I know that my consumption is 5,000 naira. The regulation says, go and pay the undisputed amount. When you pay that amount, do a letter. Please, this is what protects you. Do a complaint letter and say, please, you gave me a bill for this month to this tune. I am not satisfied with it. I am convinced it's not what I consume. So I have shown good faith and I have paid XYZ amount of money. Please look into my account and reconcile it. When you have that acknowledged letter, if an AEDC official comes to disconnect you, please call this number. Please call the number 09-462-1414. Again 09-462-1414. Or you call this other number 09-462-1424. And please, this is also very important, we've glossed over it. Meters are coming. People that thought that they should have been consuming 1,000 naira are beginning to realize that their actual consumption is 4,000. That is the truth. People also that consume, that were being billed 13,000 have now come to realize that they were overbilled. For the people that are overbilled, please, write your letter and draw the attention of your service providers. They need to reconcile that account for you, and if you're not satisfied with their actions, just like we have said, we have our own banner outside, you escalate to the foreign office, you escalate to the commission. We'll try to do something about it. But it should be noted that once you have a meter, and I say this as a customer, please, I hope there are no consumers here with respect to our super regulator. We don't want consumers in our sector. We want customers. You are duly registered with your service providers. That's what we want. It's easier to pursue a case for a customer than a consumer, respectfully, sir. So please ensure that you are a customer to your service providers. There are a lot of provisions in the regulations that can protect you. Unfortunately, we don't have time to go through all of that. But when you call that number, you're talking to a member of my team, and you most probably be talking to me. That's the number I gave out. I will walk you through the process, what you need to do, and if you are wrongly disconnected, we'll take your complaint, tell you, we'll get back to you in 10-15 minutes. We'll call our regulated entities. They are very quick to respond and say, this is what we have discovered. Go and investigate. And in case there has been an overzealous staff of yours, please ensure that that customer is reconnected before we need to activate the provisions of our regulations. So please, as I was trying to say, please, it's important that you do not bypass your meter. Once it is established that you bypass your meters, I say this with due respect to all of you, we do not call it good thieves, but the measures are very stringent. For a three-phase meter, first and foremost, you have to pay 100,000. And it doesn't matter if you did it yesterday. If you had a meter there for more than 6 months, they're going to assume 6 months. That is the truth, though. Please, unless you can prove that you just moved to that premise before the 6 months. So please, do not bypass your meters on any account. And if your meter is just like Madam said, is for lack of a better word, or I'm not technical anyway, is running fast. Do not, because of that, go and bypass your meter. Go and tell them they must come and conduct a technical investigation into that promise to understand what has happened. Yes, so please try not to bypass your meters. The penalties, for lack of a better word, they're very stringent. My friends come and tell me they've accused them. I do not listen to them. I say, go and deal with them. Because you pay 100,000 naira, you pay reconnection fee, and then they backbill you. If you are a three-phase meter, you're looking at almost a 200,000 naira deal if you're not careful. So please, try not to bypass your meter. And lastly, please, try to be a responsible customer. Pay your bills. If you genuinely have an issue that you cannot pay your bills within that period, go to your business unit, your area office, and tell them, I have an issue. It happens. It happens, you know. I have an issue. This happened to me, please. Can you give me a repayment plan? That also protects you. They will say, okay, what are the issues? When they look at it, okay, can you pay XYZ within XYZ months? You know, and the service continues, because you need your service providers as much as they also need you. So you always need to make sure that you maintain a cordial relationship with them. I don't know whether I've cleared some issues with them. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon once again. Good afternoon once again. I will take the issues, look at the meter. I should also look at the issue of the line. I've been hearing the issue of willing pole used the network and all that, but I think ADC should be aware that there's a policy directive from the federal government banning the use of wooden pole and crosser. I've said it before. So please, I heard the area manager said it was spirit action. We need to know, because now we're going to monitor that process. We need to know the duration it's going to take to change all the wooden poles. Because that order came since last year, 2018. No use of wooden poles and a wooden crosser because of the attendant effect. We have seen it collapse and we know accident that it has caused. That's why it was banned. So please, it should be dealt with immediately. Secondly, I keep hearing of transformer being replaced and all that. And NEMSA was not in the picture before it was energized. Please, ADC should also know that the NEMSA Act, every installation or every new installation or an alteration or major alteration to existing network, NEMSA must be part of it. We must. It's a regulation. We must. So if you're replacing a transformer, NEMSA must be called to go to the test. Because I heard somebody say we lost transformer 4 months, we lost transformer. If we don't do this test, please, it's not, NEMSA is not doing it for NEMSA, but it is for the industry. Please, I think whatever we've had, let's change the process, please, because henceforth, if we start an investigation, because now we're doing monitoring, we're going around. If we notice any installation has been done without NEMSA, we will write for it to be de-energized, and then we will write against whoever gave that directive. Please, like I said, let us work together on this. Also, on the issue of metering, like my regulator was saying, if you feel your meter is reading fast, please, it is part of our regulation, come to NEMSA. Yes, you can write. We will come there, we will carry on-site test to confirm whether it is actually reading fast or whether it is actually your load. So if you're not satisfied, even if you go to the district, you're not satisfied, you come to NEMSA, we'll come and they will carry out the test and we'll do the report and we'll confirm whether it's the meter issue or it is your load that is the issue, or your wiring. Whatever we'll be able to say, I'll tell you what the problem is. So that we don't keep saying it's the disco, it's the disco, it's the disco. Sometimes, like she said, it is your load. It is your load. So some people have three-phase machine in their houses. And then they have a meter, and then they say, I keep buying 2,000 naira every week. It is you are the one consuming it, it's not the disco. So sometimes we need to be careful when we point accusing fingers on all this. But like I said, if you have an issue, you come, we'll go there with the disco and we'll do the clear test and we'll let you know what the position is. Also, like my colleague also said, for your meter, please, your meters must have NEMSA seal. It must have, if it doesn't have NEMSA seal, you can flag it. The essence, like my colleague also said, look, we are in a different climate from other countries. People who manufacture these equipments, they manufacture they have them for their own regions, and they manufacture for us also in our own region. So there are some meters that the temperature range is no more than 25 degrees centigrade, which means anything more than that, the meter is going to burn. And we know that here we have 45 degrees, we have 41 degrees. There are conditions, we have above 40 degrees. So that kind of meter in Nigeria will not last. It will not last. The conditions, temperature, humidity, so these are the tests we carry out. So when we say, once we put our seal on the meter, we are saying it has met all conditions of our country and other operational tests to deliver what is meant to. And that's why our seal is there. So if it doesn't have a seal, we cannot batch the meter. We're not saying the meter is not good, but we cannot batch the meter and say it has met the requirement that it's supposed to meet. So that is why we must also check our meters to be sure it has NEMSA seal. If it doesn't have NEMSA seal, you can flag it up and then we'll be there to check and confirm if the meter is okay. Please. Materials. Also, please, for jobs that are being done, only NEMSA certified contractors, please. I'm also letting the ADC staffs to also know. Only NEMSA certified contractors are allowed to handle any installation. Please, it is very, very important. So this issue of bad jobs all around, we need to begin to nip it in the bud from now. And ADC should also understand that the network belongs to you. It's not for NEMSA. If when the bad construction job is done, you are the person who's going to be running around trying to maintain the installation. I was trying to say, let's get it right the first time. That's the essence of what we do. Lastly, please, on the issue of all these are bad network, like I said, let's work together. Anywhere you see a bad installation, where wooden poles are used, wooden cross arms, you see your installations are about to collapse, please call NEMSA. I'll give you a number. I'll just give you a number. Any issue where you see a poor installation, you can just call this number. 080 63 14 92 26. 080 63 14 92 26. Okay, thank you. Okay,
Briefly, because
certainly it's going to be very brief. I just want to respond to the area manager. You know, when he was speaking, he said there's a given community that if they have any issue at all, they clear it immediately. For us, that kind of practice is discriminatory. It is not being fair to the other communities. And this is a confirmation of even what we were talking about earlier. Because it means the area manager discriminates against certain communities. When those ones make their complaints, he doesn't listen as much as this other community. And you would realize, just like one of the customers actually said, that even within a community where there are unruly guys, it could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 persons that are doing the right thing. So why do you subject them to that kind of discrimination? Some of these things are actually things that are against the law. I think when we report back, even on this program, we need to also emphasize that quite frankly, we have this confirmation and we need to begin to be very serious about it. Because it's just like carrying out mass disconnections.
FCCPC. When I see EFCC, we don't know how to thank. Sincerely, we don't know how to thank you enough for your presence at this wonderful occasion. We would have wished that this event continue till eternity. But every good thing that has a beginning must have an end. And on this note, on behalf of AEDC, Abuja Distribution Company, on behalf of the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission, on behalf of Nigeria Electricity Management Service Agency, NEPSA, and on behalf of Nigeria Electricity Regulatory Commission, on behalf of Nestle Power, on behalf of MacArthur Foundation, and most importantly, on behalf of all of us, the end users of electricity, I would like to invite from Nestle, the convener of this event, hardworking young lady who has been here moving around, making sure that we have a beautiful and age-free event. Osazu Ego Bamie. Well
Thank you. It's my privilege to stand before you today. I just want to say thank you so much for coming, for spending your time here, for listening to the different stakeholders as we spoke, and then for giving your own observations and complaints too. That's why we called us here. So thank you for making this event a beautiful and successful one. A round of applause to everyone. Barrister has already done most of the thanks for ABC, but I still have to say thank you for showing up the way you did. Thank you, NEMSA. Thank you, NERC. Thank you, CBC, for showing up the way you did today. Without you, this event would not have been successful. I also want to say that if you fill the complaint form earlier, and for some reason you were not able to fill in your meter number or your account number, it's really important that it gets to Gwagwalada area office as soon as possible. The number has to get to them so that they can reach out to you and they can actually help out and solve whatever issue it is that you have. So I was able to get a phone number from the area manager for Gwagwalada. So please, if you had any complaints, if you fill the form and you know you were not able to put down your account number, I'm going to call this number out now so you can take it down. Are we ready?
Area manager, Gwagwalada.
Give me a number. I have it. 090 22 56 743. I'll take it again. 090 322 56 743. So please call this number later on when you get to your houses and you can access your company. Is as passionate about the sector and about consumers as possible. In fact, that's why we are here in the first place. And we usually have these events, but at the same time, we try as much as possible not to just end our discussions in this room. So please, over time, periodically, we are going to be reaching out to you for feedback, to ask a few questions, to know if the service in your area has become better. Just ask you a few questions to know how things are doing on your end. So we are letting you know beforehand so that when we call and say from next year, you won't block us from your phone. So please expect our communications anytime soon. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you so much for coming and have a good evening.
Sorry, area manager, it's just a quick one. Area manager, give them